Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Roll20 Presents Tomb of Annihilation. So far, blessedly short on Annihilation. Also, no tombs, but hey,
I feel like it's coming.
it's a new
We
episode.
annihilated that food in the tavern, though, let me tell you.
That's true. That's true. The RP has been annihilated.
Me and my friends went to the tavern. We annihilated some beers, bruh.
God.
Totally. Everything's going to get annihilated.
So I have a question, Adam. Why am I taking damage?
Oh, I don't know. Just because I needed to pick a target.
Oh, okay. So it's just me. All right.
It's just you. Yeah, you're the kobold. Come on.
That's
wait,
fair.
Wait,
So-
am I missing something?
Oh, I was dealing Elf some damage in chat before we got started. So hello everybody. Hi. If you missed the first episode of Tomb of Annihilation, that's okay. We're just getting started. Welcome. Have a seat. Don't get Chilton throat leeches. And we'll get started. So we'll skip all the intro stuff. Suffice it to say that before me are a fantastic party of excellent adventurers.
Stop.
We are going to dive right in to the adventure and excitement of Tomb of Annihilation. On the last episode, we basically got the quest. You arrived in Chult. You arrived in Port Nyanzaru, and you were given your quest. And perhaps more importantly, certainly more important to our Tempest cleric, Arcturus, we were introduced to your new
A
girlfriend.
total babe.
Oh look, a character to flirt with. Oh look, what a surprise.
Hey,
Isn't that all NPCs? Don't we just flirt with
Oh yeah,
all of
I
them?
mean that's everyone.
That's
Definitely.
true. Yeah, high flirting content in this campaign and every campaign with these nerds. So so just to get everybody started, because these are the common questions that one asks when one tunes into a Dungeons and Dragons stream. I am the dungeon master. I will be playing all of the characters that are not these characters. Distracted Elf to my this way is playing Ishi Snaggletooth, a kobold fighter. Below our kobold fighter is Little Fox. What class are you?
You just said it. She's a fighter.
No, you.
No, you.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I'm a bird cuddler
Okay.
and cat floofer.
Bird cuddler, multi-class cat floofer.
And then when you
Furbolg.
get me angry, I am a murder robot.
Perfect. Good.
I thought you said kobold and not furbolg.
Furbolg.
And so I got confused.
Yeah. So you're a furbolg. For people for whom that's not a sufficient answer, she's a barbarian. Up in the other corner over there, Fish Fabio, Arcturus. You are a Tempest cleric. What was the name of your god again? Which god do you worship?
Ishtitia. Istishia? I think it's Istishia. I got it. It's
What's this Chishia? You want to know about God? What's this Chishia? Come on.
Okay. And then below, Fish Johnson over there, playing Malik Al Garib. It's Dave, and Dave, your character is a human sorcerer.
Yep.
And you went with the dragon blood, right?
Yeah. And I've been helped out by some folks who are native speakers. Apparently it's Malik.
Malik. There you go. All right, Malik Al Garib.
Yeah. No long E. So there. Malik.
All right. So, you've hired a guide to lead you into the jungle, and your guide has a stipulation upon her service, and that stipulation is that at some point, in exchange for her guidance, you take her to Firefinger down here. Oops, I just moved Firefinger. It hasn't moved. It's still where it was. To Firefinger and recover a mask that she lost to some terrafolk. In the meantime, she will guide you through the jungles of Chult as best she can in your search for the Soulmonger, supposedly the cause of this terrible curse that is sending people back to the afterworlds from whence they escaped. So I guess we probably begin in Port Nyanzaru, not to play magical map jumping game here, but let's go back to Nanzaru. So we begin in Port Nanzaru. You wake after probably a relatively sleepless night of raucous music and shouting and what have you in the room below at the Thundering Lizard, the rowdy bar.
Are the amber skinned fish eating stick people still here? Because it's been a day now, so I could talk with them.
I assume you would have spent like your evening like resting from your journey, recovering from your teleportation nausea, and just like hanging out and relaxing. So yeah, you could have spent some time talking to them.
I'm learning a new language.
Yeah. They're teaching you Karaturan. Or their variation thereof. They're from a part of Karatur. They don't all speak the same language. Yeah.
Oh, you mean cultures aren't monolithic?
Yeah. It turns out that the Far East analog isn't just one country.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
So here's my question.
Yes.
Okay, so it costs X to stay at this inn.
Yeah.
And so for every day we stay in town, we're spending X. We're going to stay in town for as long as possible to avoid danger, which would be the rational thing to do. And then when we're truly desperate, we're just going to
We'll just wait until we're flat broke and our only option is to wander into the jungle. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, we're going to try. Then we're going to get a job.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we're going to spend a few years working this job until we get really burnt out. And then we decide that, you know what? Actually, we got to become adventurers.
Can we say all that already happened?
I feel like we could preface that like all of that has happened already, personally.
I have a job.
Yeah.
I was a hermit for a long time, but the hours just really got to me.
This is my favorite role-playing game. Dungeons and Dragons and income tax forms.
Yeah.
Nah.
So, yeah, I mean, you stayed in the inn. Your Azaka, your guide, she's ready to go whenever you are. But it wouldn't do you harm to go and provision right in the market ward.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because you have probably some of you have rations as part of your kit that you first got.
Yeah, I have my explorer's pack.
But yeah, food is a necessity in the jungle. We talked about water being a non-problem thanks to fish tissue.
Okay, I have a question. Do I get any money as a cleric, or is it only my background that gives me money?
It would only be your background if you
Only
took if you took the gear.
I'm so poor.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but you should have a pack of some kind with all
I do.
basic
I have a
stuff in
pack with basic stuff, but like I can't buy any presents for guides that are pretty.
Oh, I see.
You got your-
Okay.
You know
Yeah,
what
you got your
gift
pack?
we can give her is the gift,
The gift
of revenge.
Yes, I love
I
it.
think that's what she would be into. So my money is on us like just going and doing her quest first, and then she's our best friend
That's my thought too.
and hangs out with us forever.
I mean, alternately, and I don't want to be the negative Ned of the party here, but alternately, you do her quest and then she fucks off.
Yeah, that's also a thing that could happen.
Well, then that would lead to a great
so-
dramatic character arc where our fish priest.
So let's talk about this because we're all experienced players of computer role playing games. Are you the type of player to fill your quest log, go out into the jungle, and do all your
No.
quests, or
No.
do you do one quest at a time, picking
One at
up
a
new
time.
I
ones as you
usually
go?
fill my quest log,
I want to fill the
One
quest.
at a time.
and then I go out and I like get multiple things done at once.
Okay, well, so the only other
Yeah.
thing that I would suggest is we'll play musical maps again. If you want to, there is a river route from Port Nyanzaru, more or less directly south to Firefinger.
Goes to Firefinger, right? Yeah.
Down the river, 70, like 110, 120 miles. Now, you can walk alongside the river, or you could go and buy or rent a canoe.
I mean, you guys can buy or rent a canoe. I'll swim.
I have $0, so I'm not able to participate in the shopping spree montage. So I'll leave that to y'all.
I have the princely sum of 10 gold. That's
You had 10 gold?
we got 10 gold. Yeah.
How did you have 10? I bought a Triton. That's the Trident. I bought a
That's right.
Trident.
Step back. Step back. Stay away from me. I have 10 gold.
How do you
Rich
not
gold.
have any money? Like
Who'd you steal that from? Who
I guess
fell on
probably-
your sword to give
Probably
you
Wakanga.
My background of anthropologist only comes with 10 gold.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Since you're all poor as hell, I will be negotiating for this canoe. How much were you looking?
I don't know.
I'm not gonna participate in any on top of the
That's
water
fine.
transportation.
Oh, right, because you get seasick.
Yes.
Right. I guess we'll walk then. But I do need to buy some rations as well.
I mean, I'm fine with swimming. I'm good at that.
Well,
Get a little green around the
that we,
gills.
the first place that we should go is the market, right?
We can totally go to the market.
General market. That's what I'm thinking.
Let's just do some rolls, pick up a bunch of side quests, have Adam track them in some sort of UI somewhere.
Some sort of massive spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some
let's just
nightmare
roll
world.
Listen,
picking up
if
side
you
quests.
if you guys want a platinum trophy perfect achievement this adventure, you better get working.
No, I want to get all of those hexes.
I wanted to go talk to the priests of Joaquin
Oh, the
Phoenix.
Joaquin.
Yes, yeah, there was a temple. There's a great temple, a golden dome sacred to Joaquin. Would you like to make a religion check? Like maybe we begin the actual the actual sort of episode on the morning, and everybody is gathering their equipment. And Arcturus, you're standing in the window of your room, looking out as the sun rises on the horizon and casts its light onto the golden dome of Joaquin. You can, if you want to, make a religion check to know what kind of god Joaquin is, or you could go there and just start asking questions and talking to people, or both.
I mean, I could do both because I'm gonna let you know I'm pretty bad at a lot of things, and religion, funnily enough, is
Fantastic.
yeah, 10. I got a 10 on my religion.
Okay,
roll.
I mean that's enough to know the I mean, you won't have any local context or really much other going on.
Well,
but-
I've never been here, so
Yeah.
okay.
So, I mean, Joaquin is one of the like larger, like more important gods in the Forgotten Realms in Faerun, and Joaquin is responsible. Joaquin is an important god. It's a goddess, actually. She's important because she's the god of trade, and of coin. Of capital, essentially. So yeah, it makes sense too that she has a temple here. She's very popular in the kingdom of which is the country that originally colonized this part of Chult. So Joaquin having a big old golden temple makes sense.
Yeah, cool. So I do the whole looking out my window, golden temple light,
beautiful.
think on what I know about, which is not a lot, about the goddess, and then meet my party downstairs, having gathered my my items. And I'm assuming that Ishi is talking nonstop. Little Fox is not talking nonstop. And what are you doing, Malik?
So when you come downstairs, we follow you, right? This is like all kind of one shot. So we're shooting over your shoulder, seeing up onto the mountain where the temple is. You turn, the camera rotates around behind you and follows you down the stairs. Maybe you pick up like Malik. You walk by Malik's room as Malik comes out in the morning. How does Malik look in the morning? You didn't sleep very well because of all the noise. Do you show it, or are you looking a little haggard?
I think he.
You should make a charisma check to see how haggard you look.
I think it's okay for him to decide.
Yeah. No, I think he's fine. I think he's got everything ready because he expected to like start today. And I guess shout outs like now or maybe later, but there's already fan art of all the characters and it's so good. So hopefully you'll get to see the new token for my character at least. I made it into a token. And didn't send it to Adam. Never mind. I made it and didn't send it. We'll shout that out at the end, actually. I just remembered. He looks fine. He's ready and raring to go. The most important part of being an archaeologist is going and finding things for him. So
nice. Okay. So the two of you meet up. You meet up in the hallway. I think you pass a couple of travelers who are just coming back from a night on the town. So they look exhausted and smell of sweat and alcohol, and I think the two of them kind of like wave cheerfully to you as they pass to go into their room, and you make your way down the stairs. Arcturus, your heavy boots clanking on the steps, and down into the main room. And Ishi and Little Fox, I think you're already awake. The two of you are down there, and I think we follow the two scholars as they come down into the main room, and we pass a couple of beleaguered looking sort of wait staff trying to lift a passed out half orc from a table. She's like passed out on the table, and they're like 1, 2, and they like lift him up, and then he like clatters back to the table, his tusks knocking a bowl over and spilling some gruel on the floor, and they look at you kind of apologetically like, sorry, and we follow the two of you over to the table where Ishi and Little Fox are sitting. And what are the two of you doing? Are you just like sitting eating breakfast, or?
I think Ishi's like leaned over, digging in her explorer's pack, which is like this big backpack that's almost as big as she is, like in terms of getting all the supplies in there and stuff, and like making sure that everything's like stuffed in there. She's basically got her face in the bag, like packing it, like leaned over at the moment.
Her little legs kicking out of the back of it. Okay.
Yeah, Little Fox has like some crumb of her breakfast that she's like luring a rat out of hiding with, and is like petting the rat and like
Awesome.
feeds it a little crumb and like talks to it.
Oh,
Like, whisper that no one else can hear.
Speaking of mice, there is a mouse in this bag. I have a pet mouse. Ishi has a little mouse friend
Oh,
that I get for being an urchin. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you eat your meal together, because again, the cost of staying in the inn is this includes your food. So you eat your breakfast, and the place is busy pretty much all the time. Not as busy as it was last night. Lots more of that kind of groaning, squinting hangover crowd, and less of the raucous, let's listen to music and cause trouble crowd. And and then you gather up, and now where do you want to go? The market ward is quite nearby. So you can walk there. It's on your way to the temple.
Are both of you adequately prepared for a journey, or do we need to get something?
well, it's always better to check before we go too far and can't return and find we are missing an important item that we should probably just. I'll know if I see something.
Okay. Marketplace then.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And on we go, I would imagine. The scene moves on.
Yeah, so you walk out of the Thundering Lizard and find yourself quite quickly in the Red Bazaar, named after the color of the tents that are set up. And so there are these massive tents with people shouting their wares basically all around you right as you get out. And the Red Bazaar, as we mentioned before, they sell like goods for every day, like food, vegetables, tropical fruits, light clothing, and then maybe more interestingly, insect repellent and rain catchers. Those are things. You walk by a pungent booth where someone is hawking incense and salve that they claim will repel insects, and they see you, they recognize right away, like, oh, you're not from around here, you're adventurers, and they lean over and they shout like, salves and insect repellents, incense, and like shouting as you walk by and kind of like waving like, brave travelers, keep the insects away, don't want to get bitten by a giant centipede.
Why ever not?
And he like blinks and looks at you, says, well, and then looks at Malik like, did we, what, did I say something wrong?
I want to find out if this is like legit. How would you like me to try and discern that?
So you want to take a look at the stuff?
Yeah, see if it would actually work as an insect repellent.
Sure. I think probably survival, I think, would be the appropriate check here.
I'm proficient, but not very good. Anybody else want to help me?
So I think
Nope.
little fox, you see Malik walk up like, let's take a look.
Yeah, I'm quite good at this, so if
Mhm.
you want to help me,
Oh,
but it looks like me helping you, so maybe it's you're leading the role. But yeah, like you'll be checking it out, and little fox just like walks over, and there's like the light darkens because you fall under her shadow as she walks up behind you.
no, I'd totally turn to you and say, "You're from around here. You actually have an idea. What do you think? Any of this work?"
And yeah, she just like sticks a huge finger in the like sample
Mhm.
whatever thing.
It's,
right?
it's not a lush. It's not like use a little
Smells it.
sample pot. Yeah, I mean it
You know,
smells.
but, like-
There's two things. There's you can get little like gourds that are full of a salve that seem to be some kind of like pungent tree sap and some other mixture. And and then little blocks of incense that you can light and burn to create a smoke. Make a survival check, and with advantage if Malik is helping you.
In the meantime, I'm like talking with the vendor, and I'm like, but why would you want insects? Are very valuable for different things. They can be used as bait in catching fish, and I've heard that most of them are themselves edible. Why would you want to drive them away?
So the insect repellent, yes, it seems to you like it would work.
I feel like we should get some. How expensive is it?
A single gourd of repellent is 1 gold piece, but you can apply it 20 times, and should last all day. And then a block of incense is a silver piece. You light it and it will burn for 8 hours and repel insects from an area. So one is for camp and one is for sort of walking around.
I mean, do they
I'll
answer
buy
my question?
myself two of the. I'll spend 2 gold on 40 uses of insect repellent.
Okay, sure. No, Arcturus, he does that thing where he pretends not to understand common, right? Like he says some stuff in Chultan. He can understand you. Maybe Arcturus doesn't know this, but he's just like,
Great.
you're using words I don't understand. Sorry.
Not sure what I would need insect repellent for. Scales, you see.
Yeah, and little fox just
I
kind of
also
like
have
shrugs.
scales, so
Yeah, everyone else in the group is a monster, so they're not so worried. But Malik definitely would want some.
Okay, yeah, Malik, you can note two uses of or two gourds. I will I'll quote it in here for you.
It's it's probably not the small ones, Ishi, that are going to be the problem.
You
This
make
has-
a good point. I will buy a single gourd.
Okay, all right.
Giant centipedes, as the name implies, are probably actually going to be giant and therefore dangerous.
Yes, but we're talking about a giant centipede. We're not talking about giant in relative to everything, right?
So the
I love that, like,
What's the difference?
right?
yeah, as you walk away with your purchases, the two of you debate the entomology and etymology, I guess, of a giant centipede.
as a point of fact, you both were hired to protect us, and you're afraid of a large bug.
I am afraid of nothing. Ever. At all.
Right.
Ever.
Listen, it could be worse. You could have to deal with a huge giant crab. So
That would be terrible.
What if it were huge and
huge and
guys?
giant, my friends. Huge and giant. Beware.
Am I okay, since we're in the Red Bazaar, to just spend 5 gold and get 10 rations?
Yes, yeah. If you want to buy rations, this would be a place too. Yep.
Yep. Has
I have
anybody
some.
not got rations and cannot afford them?
I have 10 rations in my bag.
I don't have any money.
Do
you have any
though,
rations?
or-
I have an explorer's pack, which I believe has
10 rations.
10 rations in it.
Okay.
You're good.
All right.
And I have good enough. I have survival, so I can like get us some food as we're on our way as well.
Okay.
If it comes to it.
What's everybody's? Actually, I guess I can check. Where do you want to go? Is there anywhere in particular that you're interested in checking out before you leave?
How much is a healing potion? They're really expensive, aren't they?
I mean, you'd have to know where to buy them first.
Wakanga has them. We know that. We know that.
Paying attention. Yeah,
So
you want to go?
If Arcturus was like healing potion, they're like, I stole one of those. I mean, I know where to get them.
I can get one of those for you.
Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you could go talk to Wakanga. Totally.
Yeah, it just might be wise to have something other than my
Did you-
spells to heal.
Did you want to go to the
Or like a
washroom?
healing kit?
Yeah, we could get a kit. We can't afford any potions, but a kit would be useful.
Uh-huh.
I have a herbalism kit
Mhm.
already, for what that is worth.
Not the same, unfortunately, mechanically.
I mean, with a herbalism kit, if you have the proficiency, you could whip up some other stuff too, but it isn't, predominantly for healing.
Yeah, so, and I have the medicine skill. So if you set me up with a healer's kit, I can bail your dead asses out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna be taking half damage from everything, but y'all are gonna die like
You say
just
that until you get lit
flies.
on fire.
Are you
Yeah.
proficient with a herbalism kit?
I'm proficient with the herbalism kit, and I have the medicine skill.
Okay.
So presumably, I can use healer kit as well.
The healer kit is the thing that is going to.
You can expend one
because we
use of
don't
the kit to
need-
stabilize a creature that has 0 hit points without needing to make a medicine check. So you don't need the medicine skill to use it. That's
So we
Oh, even
should
better.
get it in case you're not available to do it. Yeah, I think that's a decent use of our money if we can
Mhm.
get the gold together for it. Kits. Healing kit. Is that in adventurer's gear? I believe so. Healer's kit, 5 gold. Yes, I will front us 5 gold and we will get one of those. Who would like to hold on to it?
I mean, the
Don't
whole
give it
point
to
is
me,
me
please.
not holding on to it because
Mhm.
I have magic.
Okay, I will hold on to it. It is now my healing kit.
Okay. So the sort of more permanent stores, the places where you would buy like fancier things, that's going to be in the Grand Souk. The Grand Souk is one of the big markets. It's the biggest, kind of fanciest one, and this is where the some of the more unusual items would be found. So I think we transfer from the kind of farmer's market vibe of the Red Bazaar to a much bigger, much more like jostling. Suddenly there's people everywhere. It's described in the adventure as a noisy, jostling, aroma-rich circus. So you're being kind of jostled around by people. There's huge crowds. There are a lot of the same kind of hawkers down at the ground level, but there are proper stores with balconies. The whole place is full of exciting smells.
How many
and-
of these places am I banned from? Is the
I mean, none. Maybe you spot a guard that kind of gives you a look like, they're watching you, Ishi. But we passed by. I think we passed by a stall where there is like an ivory worker, like someone carving, and they're carving they're carving some kind of statue out of a huge bone, and you notice that next to them there is the skull of some kind of giant lizard, like big enough that you could almost stand in its mouth if it were open. Someone else is selling
Similar to the one at the Thunder Lizard.
Yeah.
Inn?
This one looks newer. That one has been reinforced with wood and what have you. There are minstrels. You see someone selling parrots. So he has domesticated parrots that they're selling. And in this area, there are the shops that belong to the merchant princes, where you can buy sort of proper fancy stuff. So you can find your way here. Now, I think on your way there, you walk by a shop that has a canoe over its door. And in the window, looking inside, I guess it's not really a window, it would be like a shutter that's rolled up. You look inside and you can see it's like a wood carving shop. You can smell the smell of freshly worked wood, and you can see canoes. You can see these tall wooden shields. There are finely crafted arrows in quivers in this place. Were you interested in buying a canoe potentially?
Now that I've spent the extra gold, no, and I forgot that the Triton cannot use water vehicles.
Okay, so it's going to be walking along the shore instead.
Unfortunately,
All right, you can always come back. Okay, all right. So you make your way to Wakanga's house and shop, Wakanga Otamu, and Wakanga's shop is very much an oddities shop. When you walk in, it has a sort of dusty hush to it. There's a big rack of scrolls off to one wall. Like it's all made up on these ancient scrolls, ancient and new. There are glass bottles and vials, all kind of set up on another shelf with little tiny tags attached to them showing their prices. And in Wakanga's shop, you can, on a player level, you can buy any common or uncommon potion if you have the gold, or any first or second level spell scroll have you
Cool.
the gold.
Oh, well, hopefully let's go and make some money on this first adventure then.
Yeah, and so you
because-
walk in, and there's a faint jingling of shells that are attached to the door, and you hear some rustling behind, and then the door pulls open, and you see Wakanga, who smiles broad and bright when he sees you, and he says, hello again, friends.
Yeah, the new arrivals wanted to get supplies, and I thought, consumer loyalty and all.
He laughs and he says, "Well, thank you for bringing me some business, Ishi. Though you'll pardon me if..." and he looks at you. "I think perhaps some of my wares might be just outside the reach of your bank accounts."
For now, but it's always nice, I find, to have a goal. Gold isn't worth anything on its own, of course.
He gives you a look and he says, "That's an interesting philosophy, sir. You should take that up with the priests of Joaquin. I think they might disagree."
We were just about to be on our way there, although disagreements aside, I was rather hoping that your goodwill towards your friend might supply us with a gift, perhaps.
He smiles and he says, "I am not a religious man, but there are some precepts of Joaquin as a merchant I must follow, and the first among those is never give it away when you can charge for it." And he says, "But I do have something that might be of interest to you. I was hoping I would see you again before you wandered off into the jungle to
So
explore."
while our
Good
friend
guy.
Wakanga is distracted by this conversation, I would like to reach over to the nearest table and try and sleight of hand whatever it is.
Wow! Wow! You're the worst. All right, you're gonna try to
Can we
steal from
not?
Wakanga.
Yes.
Can we please not? Because this is how D&D campaigns. There is a drain somewhere, and
I already
Yes.
tried to steal from him.
Well,
Just
thanks for coming,
into the
everybody.
drain.
It's been a good
it's
40
called
minutes.
sleight of hand.
Congratulations. Here ends the Tomb of Annihilation.
Okay, no, but
Turns
here's
out the
the
tomb
thing.
is where you
Here's
were
the thing.
forced to spend
Here's
the
the
rest of your
thing.
life.
Does one of you see me and stop me?
Okay,
Is that-
I don't
here's
see
what
you,
we'll
I'm
do.
also distracted.
You make your sleight of hand roll. Okay, we will compare your result to the passive perception of everyone in the group, and if no one notices, I'll just roll a random potion that you jack from the shelf.
Cool.
All right.
I'm gonna use my inspiration on this.
Okay. You hear a menacing voice from the door. "I serve the All right. Does anyone? I'm looking at you, Fish Boy. Does anybody have a 17 or higher passive perception?
20. I used my inspiration.
Oh, that's
God,
right.
no.
God
I don't have
damn.
a passive
Okay.
perception of 20. Are you fucking shitting me?
All right. Let me see what we got here for a.
I'd never miss a fucking beat. 20 passive perception.
Okay. Let's see. Magic items.
My passive perception, how do you calculate your passive
It's
perception?
your bonus if you were rolling plus 10.
Okay.
All right.
Definitely not a 20.
Okay. You reach behind you. Sneak your little hand under the shelf and feel the cold glass of a potion and yank and put it in your bag.
Sweet.
No one notices. You can check out what it is when you get outside. I was about to say you're a monster, but that's a given.
I am. Yeah.
So Wakanga is fishing around under his desk, and he says, "We were speaking last night, and I was reminded that someone brought this to me before they left Chult." And there's a scraping sound, and then thunk. He places a water-swollen, heavily abused, tattered journal on the table. Thump.
I'm so
There's
into
like
this.
dust and the little bit of rattling as the potion's underneath, and he points at it and he says this came into my possession. Someone was attempting to liquidate their assets before heading home to the north. Perhaps it will be more of use to you than it was to me. It makes for dull reading. And he slides it towards you.
It does look rather liquidated. And
Wow, do you have inspiration yet?
yes, I have.
Okay, well, you can imagine a world where you just got it again for your terrible water pun.
Yeah. And then Arcturus does a thing where he reaches for it and then's like, may I? And then obviously is given the permission to do so and like flips through. And
there's a slightly rusted like clasp and you open it. It's written in a sort of a cipher or a shorthand. You recognize the characters. Do you want to make a roll to try to see if you can figure it out?
Sure.
Okay. Why don't you, let me see.
I mean, if I can't figure it out, can I just study it for a day?
Yes, I'm just saying like at a glance.
Right.
Let's have you make just make an Arcana check. I know you're not great at it. That's fine.
15.
Oh, okay, sure, no problem. Maybe you've seen this cipher before. This is like a common. It's like Candlekeep 4, and there's a specific like cipher they're using. They didn't even make up their own. It's lazy, really. And so so it's a journal. The person in it describes their journey through Chult. They describe their ill-fated exploration. The thing that like flipping through it, Wakanga watches you, and then we see on his face as you read it, and as obviously you're perceiving and understanding it, he smiles like, impressive, right? Like he can see that you figured it out. And he says, I had to hire a sage. Took 2 weeks to discover the meaning of this. You seem to have caught on to it right away. And while he's saying caught on to it, that's when Ishi is just like,
And I am a little taken aback, and I say 2 weeks. Well, wish I would have been here a little bit earlier. I would have appreciated 2 weeks of work, and then like trail off.
Right. So he says, once I had the cipher, I read the entire thing, dry though it was. And he looks at it pointedly. It seems that its owner, whose name I never caught, is a spellcaster of some sort. And he flips to, he says, if I may, and he opens to a particular page. And there are a few kind of bad sketches throughout. But in it, there is a sketch of what looks like a magical construct. Like it's a human-shaped wooden and metal creature, and it's chopping wood, like in the jungle. There's some trees drawn in the background. It's chopping. There's like a camp scene, and then next to it there is a drawing of an amulet, so a metal amulet, kind of shield-shaped with a chain. And in the common script, it's titled Vorn, chopping wood. And so what Wakanga says,
how is that spelled?
Vorn, Vorn.
Okay, because I've played a Warforged fighter called Vorn.
Wow, there you go, same dude.
It's you.
Yeah,
spooky.
Alternate reality. So he taps it and he says, he says, unfortunately, the author is not very clear about where any of this takes place. I believe he spent most of his time in the jungle lost. He came back to me and gave me this alone. If this Vorn is his companion, I suspect he might still be out there somewhere.
You said that you read the whole thing.
He nods.
Was it valuable? Do you think it would be of value to someone going back into the jungle? Or
he shakes his head, and his hair kind of dances around his head, and he laughs, and he says, "Oh no, this heavy thing would just weigh you down. You're feel free to make notes, but as I said, you've probably got a better chance of keeping your head in the jungle than this fellow did."
While all this is going on, I'm just walking around the store looking at price tags and going like, Oh yes, far too expensive.
Yeah, like it's 300. Oh my!
Exactly.
So he says to you, he says, I wanted to show you this because, well, you look like the curious types, and I've got an itch to know more. If you could find this Vorn or the amulet, and he points at it, it would please me greatly, and I would be happy to reward you for it. And he looks at Malik and he says, you might be interested in the companion volume. And he pulls out another book, and this one is much better taken care of. It has a like a crocodile skin or like some kind of reptile skin like cover, and an arcane sigil burned into the cover. And he sets it down, and he says, "This book, I was never able to discover its meaning, but I think that's because it's not prose." And he opens it, and looking at it, it's clear that it's a spell book. And he says, whether or not you could make use of it, I couldn't say, but, and he closes it. He says, I'm sure it's valuable, just not to me.
All right. Well, in our travels, if we come across anything, I would be happy to trade the information for, well, the information you have. The book.
Yeah, he nods, and he says, if you can find me the next chapter in the story of this unfortunate fellow, I would be happy to part with both volumes.
Can I like take my journal and like basically copy the sketch of Vorn and the
definitely.
yeah.
I was hoping to ask actually, though while the faith of the many merchants of the town is great, as evidenced by that temple, I was wondering if there was a museum around. They tend to share at times interests in certain artifacts, and since that's what I'm in the business of doing, I was wondering if I could try and make some sort of relationship with them.
I don't think that there is, but I'm going to double check before he answers.
Fair enough.
But I think he has an opinion on this either way.
Yeah, I have an idea. Oh, that's
yeah. So he says, I don't see anything about a museum specifically. He says to you, I think the closest thing, if you're looking for artifacts, would be the Temple of Severus, or perhaps Gond, depending on what you're looking for. But I have to say, friend Malik, the situation in Chult is a bit different than it is up north. The artifacts that fill your museums often come from the hands of people like us. The travelers from took much from Chult for their collections. And he, for a moment, like he has this jovial, for a moment it kind of like drops, and he gives you kind of a serious look.
Of course, and it's part of my job when I'm not off in the jungles themselves to bring back parts of that history, parts of those important things that may have been lost to invaders, colonizers, whatever the histories say about them, to their rightful owners. There are some things that are, and you'll excuse me this blasphemy, more important in the right hands than their weight in gold.
So right like that, his jovial nature returns to his face, and he says, well, as I said, I am a merchant and no religious man, though everyone is a worshipper of Sirik with a lie on their lips. If you find anything in the jungle that you think would be of significant cultural import, bring it to me. I will help you find an appropriate place for it. But if you wish, the Temple of Severus is the place to go if you are seeking lore.
Background of this whole scene is me trying to get Little Fox to get something off a really high shelf for me to look at, like tugging on her arm.
So what kind of pet does Wakanda have?
Wakanga.
Wakanga. What kind of pet does he have around the shop? Like I'm imagining like lots of birds and stuff outside. Does he have like a cat or something?
I don't think so. I think that he's maybe too fastidious to have like a pet.
All right, well then I am available to help you get a thing off the shelf.
Okay. Yeah,
maybe there's
you're,
like
maybe you're finding this all quite dull because there is nothing alive in here except for you and your friends.
Yeah, no, it's like really stuffy and dusty or whatever. Not dusty, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
there's like an under his breath mumble about like complains about people from taking their shit and then wishes for us to go into the jungle and take someone else's things. That's okay. Like very much just like maybe even in what's the language, primordial or something, like, but just like
so everybody hears Arcturus making a sound like a water pool full of rocks. yeah because no one else speaks primordial but you, right?
I would assume not.
Okay.
Are you okay?
Yeah, yes, of course. Is that all you wish for us to see if we can find any knowledge of Vorn and this amulet?
He nods. Well, that and discover the source of this terrible curse, of course.
Of course.
But while you're in the jungle, if you could keep an eye out for a mysterious man of wood and metal.
You seem well connected. Before we leave, as is in my nature when undertaking things of this sort, as we spoke of earlier, is there anybody else that you know who might have secondary objectives for us to look out for?
He says, oh, friend Malik, Port Nyanzaru is large and full of people who want things. And a group such as yourselves, you stand out. Merely walk the streets, and I'm sure the kind of trouble you're looking for will come to you.
Trouble? I hope not.
And he grins and he puts his hands out and he says, as a scholar of language, you must know, in some tongues, trouble and opportunity are the same word.
I mean, I only know of one or two, and I don't think that I'm generalizing, of course, but never mind.
All right. So, so what do you want to do now? You have this book. Oh, do you go? So you go outside, I guess, unless anybody else wants to do something in Wakanda. Okay. All right. So you go outside, and
What'd you get, Ishi?
So we get a little further away from Wakanga's store because Wakanga, I don't want Wakanga to see me stealing stuff after I got put in jail for stealing stuff. And then I pull this bottle out of my bag and offer it up to Malik, I guess, or Arcturus. I'm like,
did you just?
It's not a totally wasted trip.
The dye pack goes off and you're all covered in pink dye.
And I just swipe it out of the air from you with like an invisible hand. I just like click my fingers and I just take it.
Good luck with that.
Okay. I mean, why don't you make a roll? Ishi, make a dex save.
Sure.
Against whatever your spell DC is, Malik.
14.
Okay, no problem. So you're just like, give me that, and you lunge out with magic, and Ishi like scampers out of the way.
I love the idea that the potion just like disappears, right? Like you just stash it somewhere, it's gone. You're like, where'd it go? It's gone. What potion?
And then I think Arcturus is confused for a little bit. Like he probably assumed that you had gone to a different vendor in the shop while we were talking to Wakanga and bought it. But Malik's obvious, like,
just give me a second to explain.
Did you? Is it what is it? Is it health potion?
I don't know. I was gonna take a look at it or have one of you.
You bought something and you don't know what it is.
Yeah, yes, bought something.
No, he didn't buy it. Of course she didn't.
Look, he has so many things. He's never going to miss one bottle.
Well, what is it?
I don't know.
The potion reappears.
Mhm.
I'm like looking at it, like,
Yeah, I mean, he would label them. So yeah, it's labeled like a potion of health or like a potion of invigoration or something in the local tongue. But yeah, it's a healing potion.
And
Perfect. Just what we
Arcturus,
wanted.
Arcturus like sucks air through his teeth, like the. You should give that back.
Do Tritons have, this is just like a total random question. Do Tritons have like mammal, like monkey teeth, or do you have like shark teeth?
Shark teeth.
Okay.
I decided.
How many
just
rows? How many rows?
now. Two
2
rolls.
rows.
Yeah.
Excellent.
so you say that I have to give it back, and I go,
I say you should.
But the fact that I have it here now means that if I give it back, they'll know I took it. Whereas if I keep it,
And Little
No
Fox is
one
just
will ever
behind
know.
everyone with her huge
Let's
hands,
go.
just like pushing you all along,
let's go.
like gently but firmly, just like
Mhm.
okay.
Ishi, I'm not quite sure how this works on the surface, but there is an ebb and a flow to things, and you taking from our friend Wakanga, things will be taken from you in due course. You should give it back.
I have known Wakanga way longer than either of you, and he won't mind. It's fine.
Being lawful good means looking the other way when your party does things that might be morally objective to you. So,
I mean-
Is anyone lawful good, by the way?
I'm
Just-
lawful good.
Oh, okay.
chaotic good.
Whoops.
I'm a cleric.
it's okay. It's fine.
No, I think that's great.
Being good is about being altruistic.
Being
Not
lawful
chaotic
is
good.
about
Look,
following.
I'm looking after my tribe, i.e., all of you numbskulls, by having a healing potion.
Mm-mm.
So, Arcturus, maybe things aren't so clear cut here on the surface, right?
Uh,
That's okay.
I mean,
the
we
tides,
wouldn't have to pay for a healing potion if we needed one underneath the ocean anyway.
Yeah, we're in the jungle,
Because
baby.
it's Star Trek under the ocean.
Under-
We've
under-
already
yeah.
decided.
under the sea. The class struggle is over. Okay.
So, I think if we want to do anything else, we're gonna need money to do that, right? So we're not gonna get any money if we just stay in town, unless you want to start begging. It works pretty well,
I still would like to go to the priests of Joaquin.
right?
The priestesses, the whatever.
The clergy.
I don't understand how your stupid surface world or gender works.
Whatever. Let's go to the temple of Joaquin. Temples don't have gender.
That's true. I mean, maybe
They're
for a second
building.
you'd be like, is gendered noun temple in common? I don't.
I don't know. Common.
All right. So you wanna head up the hill to the temple
Yes.
up here?
How far away is the other temple that I was pointed towards?
The Temple of Severus. It
Yeah.
is.
Is that like a religious district, or is it just spread out?
No, the Temple of Severus. Okay, so the Temple of Severus is like 7, I think. Y'all are here. Let me just see.
I missed the ping for
Oh, it's
y'all
okay.
here.
I'm finding you. It's across town, basically.
Okay. That's fine.
And the
Okay, so the temple of Severus is right. You're here. This is the grand the souk right here.
Okay.
Temple of Severus is over here,
Okay.
and then the Temple of Joaquin is down there.
If you were interested in going to the Temple of Severus, we could split up. Or just take more time in the town.
Yeah, I mean, you have the day to explore. Everybody can take an opportunity to do the things.
Are we
they
going to
want
start
do.
into the jungle at night? I think it's questionable to me.
No. Well, we don't need to set off in the night. We can just take another, as long as you can all afford.
So
I guess we can pay for another night, yeah.
So where does everybody need to go? Temple of Joaquin and Temple of Severus? Those
Yeah,
are places-
I'd just like to take a walk around, see what we can find out. See if there are people who need our services within the town. You know, that sort of thing.
I would like
So
to
we need to be
give
looking out for things.
give
if
to the
they
goddess
come up.
Joaquin to pay for. Well, I mean, not entirely pay for your overreaching hands.
And so little fox just like reaches down and shuffles Ishi over to Malik,
Mm-hmm.
so that the two of you can go off, and then I like steer
Yeah, I love it.
Arcturus by his shoulders through the crowd. I just like grab you and just like
I was
carry
just
you.
about
like-
to say I should just about to say should split up. Okay, you're already going. See you soon.
Yeah, little fox just like wordlessly
Go with him.
separates the group and starts moving Arcturus in the right
Okay.
direction.
So let's stay
While
with.
we're walking, I'm like talking with you about like how she shouldn't have done that or something or other, like just at you.
And you just get this like sequence of like shrugs and like like the 50-50 hand and the
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
All right. So there are two kind of like mounts, two little like hills. The highest point in the city is the temple, right? Is the Temple of Joaquin, the Hall of Gold. It's connected by a massive stone bridge to a coliseum. So I think that as you approach from the north, you can hear the shouting of the crowd and the blaring of horns as some significant event is going on in the coliseum. There's cheering and shouting. And you ascend onto this bridge. And from up here, you can see down into the market. You can see the vast jungle off to one side. And then on the other side, the harbor and then the sea to the north. From here, you can walk south to the massive, shimmering golden temple of Joaquin. So around Joaquin's temple, in this sort of sacred, the sacred district, are banks, money lenders, halls of record, exciting things like that. So there's a lot of just kind of business, not actual businesses, but the things that are businesses to businesses. And outside there is a basically a bunch of steps that lead up to this big sort of dome-shaped building. And again, the architecture here is old, but not as old as the sort of foundations of the port. It's of Omnian construction for the most part. And you can see there's some scaffolding on one side. There is a couple of craftsmen who are applying a layer of thin gold paint to like cover up an area that was damaged. So they're tightening it up. And there's two big doors that lead into the relative darkness of the temple within.
Let's observe proper local etiquette and customs and go and drop some money in a pan for the goddess Joaquin. At least that's what I'm gonna do, or whatever it is that I see people doing.
Yeah, and so like little fox pulls open the huge door for you and like ushers you in, but then she waits outside.
Okay.
She like finds a parrot to talk to or something. She's not interested in going into a temple.
So you walk inside, and in the temple, there are lots of well-dressed individuals, lots of Chultans talking, kind of whispering quietly to themselves. In the center, bathed in sunlight, is a massive statue of a beautiful Omnian woman. She's dressed in obviously like northern attire, right, from When I say northern, like if you live in Waterdeep, it's the far south, but northern from here. In Omnian attire, she looks halfway between a merchant and a noble. So she's got fine clothes, and she's holding a scale in one hand and a ledger in the other, and the scale has piles of coin in it, and she's looking. And then next to her, down below, there's a group of what look like they're the only people who are out of place, but they look like engineers or something. One of them has a book that he's like writing in. The other might be an artist. He's drawing a sketch, and as you walk by, it looks like he's sketching a statue. But it's also of a woman, but she's dressed like a Chultan merchant. So she's got like the one shoulder cross outfit, holding a scale. Like she's similar, but it's not the same person. And so this person is like planning a statue, and the engineers are taking measurements. All around her feet are there's a sort of like altars set out with little like slots in them for you to deposit coin and to pray.
Is there anyone here that is like a priest or priestess of the religion, or is it just these artists?
Yeah,
and
it's just hard.
engineers?
It's hard to tell who's a priest and who's a merchant because the sacred clothing of the Wakina you look like a merchant because most of them are.
Yeah, okay. I guess I would just go up to someone that I suspect may or may not be and ask for directions toward a priest or priestess. And
Yeah, you
if
you,
they
you
were
find
one,
yourself in the company of a priest of Joaquin.
yeah, and I would just probably question them about their religion and the proper protocols for a blessing on a journey or something like that.
Okay. So so the priest is a little like I think you have the wrong temple because generally Joaquin, is it a commercial venture? Are you starting a company?
I mean, we are being paid
We can
to.
bless a charter.
Well, I mean, not quite. I just, I was quite curious about your religion's practices, and this temple is quite something. I saw it from entering the city. I just thought I might inquire. If that's not something that the goddess Joaquin does, then so be it.
He puts his hands up and he says, "Well, we are happy to take any donation that you would like to make."
Where do the donations towards the goddess generally go?
He gestures to the temple and the community, of course, to local business.
And she like thinks back to how she stole the the potion and takes probably a gold coin out of her pocket, and then does the like, I guess I'll pay in his head. Sorry, might be misgendering my character. In his head, he says, I guess I'll just pay in increments then, and
Sure.
eventually this will get to Wakanga in some fashion.
One might say that it would trickle down. That's a metaphor that your character would understand. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So basically, Arcturus is of a mind that if the donations to the temple find their way to the merchants of the city, that this is a way that he can help pay for that potion without making Ishi go to jail.
So you put a coin
gold,
in the box, and the priest says a short prayer for you, for good business, for gold to flow to you like rain from the clouds, and then of course, because you can't be allowed to make a donation without a receipt, he writes on a piece of paper and tears off a bit and hands it to you, and it says like donation to the Temple of Joaquin, 1 gold piece, and then a little like spot, and then he hands you a quill for you like write your name. And he writes it in his ledger, his sacred ledger, and bows to you and says, "The golden lady's eyes upon you in your endeavor. Good business."
Good business. And then I like take the thing and I fold it into my like journal and like go out.
Okay. Perfect. All right, so let's take a break here, and we'll see what the other temple is like when we return. We'll visit Severus. Don't go anywhere. We got lots more Tomb of Annihilation when we get back. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Going into part 2 of today's episode of Tomb of Annihilation. So, we visited the Temple of Joaquin. To the north, much closer, we return to Ishi and Malik as they approach the Temple of Severus. Now, do either of you want to make a religion check to know a thing or two about who Severus is before you visit, or are you just going to go in sight unseen?
I don't have it, so I don't think I can.
Okay, so you're just like, I don't know, it's a human god.
But side note, while we're walking along towards this temple, Malik's getting treated to the full Ishi barrage of just constant talking.
Because it's the first time the two of you have been alone, right? And it's I always find that interesting. It's like the conversation changes, even though you were together before. Now that it's just the two of you, the tenor of the conversation might be like a little different.
The thing in my head that's always been happening is I've been talking at Little Fox most of the time.
Right, because you have to fill the space.
Yeah, they're kind of, there's no conversation so much as there is just like random noise from Ishi. But with Malik, I don't know. It's just a barrage of questions like, "Oh, where'd you come from? What are you doing? Why are you here? How long are we going to be working together?" And like all that kind of stuff. Just ramble. It's not important.
So Malik, how are you responding to this?
He'll answer every question.
She maybe even switches to Draconic because she knows you speak it.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, so the two of you are speaking in Draconic as you walk along.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Especially since like I've learned it as a language, you kind of speak it naturally to an extent. Though, I don't know. Did you? Yeah, like the questions start coming back eventually. Like when we're talking in Draconic, like, were you originally part of like an all kobold clan? Like, did your parents speak this to you as well as common? It's just, he's interested.
Well, we don't exactly have the same, ideas of parents.
And like, there's the whole kobold culture thing coming up. And yeah, she's from like a, mountain somewhere, relatively close to, I imagine even maybe she's from a Baldur's Gate colony, like a sewer colony kobold, like sewer maintenance folks. Because apparently a quarter of sewer maintenance is all kobolds in the big cities in the Forgotten Realms.
Yeah.
So she's probably from Baldur's Gate, and there's a lot of that coming back at you. And it's like, yeah, Draconic is the language, and we love that we're related to dragons, and dragons are cool, and I wish there was a dragon around that I could like say go and work for, but there isn't.
Well, Ishi, now that you mention it, there have been some rumors of a dragon who's been dubbed Tinder in the jungles to the south. A red dragon of some ill renown.
What was their name?
Tinder.
Tinder?
It's not their actual name, but that would be like a human like name for them. Yeah.
Are they famous for their tail swipes?
Mm-hmm. Yes, they can swipe both left.
I was
and
gonna
right.
say something, but yeah. So maybe she mentions that while we're walking as well. Like,
well, there is one, to the south, but I gotta go through the whole jungle to get there, and then they might be angry, and angry dragons are dangerous.
You definitely know a lot of what's going on around here. Like I was saying back at the shop, I guess you're the person to talk to for finding people who need things found. I just hate to be out there, stumble upon something, and not realize its significance to somebody.
What I will be able to tell you is, if you drop something, I will be the one whose head it lands on.
In respect to what is that a metaphor?
Kinda, like close to the ground. It's more literal than anything, but I guess it works, yeah.
Sure. Okay, well, I don't know much about this god, but I know that...
Whoa, you know all kind of shit about this god.
Everything.
Yeah. I don't know much about Severus, except literally every goddamn thing. Severus.
You're not allowed to say goddamn. That's a bad thing. That's the first rule of Severus.
That's right. Don't say it.
Don't-
Severus. Severus is a now. Severus isn't the main god to wizards and spellcasters. That would be Mystra, goddess of magic. But Severus is a deity of a particular kind of wizard, a wizard who would seek to divine the hidden. They are fortune tellers, diviners, speakers of truth. Right? It's like taboo for a worshiper of Severus to lie. Severus is a god. It's one of those gods that he was raised up from mortalhood, right? He was a powerful diviner who was given by Mystra, probably. There's a bunch of different stories. Among your people, there is a belief that Severus was once a much more powerful god, but who stepped down from his position after seeing a terrible future, right? He was like a Netherese deity. So there's a bunch of different stories about the truth of Severus, but Severus, yeah, is the all-seeing eye, the one who he doesn't take action, but he sees the future. So his priests are going to be fortune tellers and what have you. And I think that as you're recounting some of this to Ishi, this is when the temple falls into view. It appears much like the Temple of Joaquin to be like mostly dome shaped, but this dome is tiled in at first ivory and white tiles, and then tiles of bright blue, and then tiles of black. So if you were to look at it from above, it would appear to be a giant eye. And so that's the thing about Severus. Do you have any questions? Anything that
what would be the proper? Sorry, I'm saying that. How would I properly pay respects to Severus? Because I figure, actually, the more I hear about it, Malik probably worships them a non-insignificant amount.
Yeah.
He has his like base one that's part of his tribal upbringing, but not his tribal, his like cultural upbringing. But learning more about the Forgotten Realms in general, this is probably one that aligns even better with his own beliefs.
Yeah, totally. It would be much like in Chult, sort of an outsider deity, but one that fits, right? Where you're like, okay. So yeah, the thing is just don't lie. If you had something to offer that maybe no one else knew, right? Severus, the discovery of secrets, the revealing of truths. If there was like a widely held lie that you could uncover, that would be something that the priest would appreciate. And then obviously, like all gods love gold, right? Well, priesthoods do. That's how they keep the temple open. So the two of you, you're standing essentially in like the shadow of the temple. Around you is a neighborhood of walled villas. It's kind of like a garden neighborhood of like fine houses.
So why are we here again?
Well, I didn't realize that there was a temple here. I actually have a little belief myself. There's no reason not to, and we typically think the same way about a lot of things.
Well,
Covering secrets. I'm an archaeologist. That's physically what I do, as well as metaphorically.
it's always seemed a little spooky to me. But,
You're welcome to come inside with me. I'm going to ask some questions about things that they're looking into, or would like looked into. But
well, if I don't go with you, then I'm not fulfilling the job I said I'd do for Wakongo when he let me out of jail the first time. So I gotta come.
do you think that you will be able to not, and you'll forgive me for saying this, but with your behavior back at the shop, it's not so much don't steal here, it's don't lie.
You don't get it. Okay, we don't know each other very well. It's fine. I understand that you don't get the whole taking things. Me and Wakongo, we have a special relationship.
Look, if you say so, as long as it isn't jeopardizing mine with him. He's an important person here.
Of course. I'm not going to say anything. You do all the talking.
She blatantly lies.
Yeah. Well, the thing about the Church of Severus is they have nothing to steal. Right? Like you can't steal ideas. They want to give them away. They reveal the truth. So yeah, I think you come inside. And I imagine this being kind of like the Parthenon or something. It's not a place where people live, but a place where people come to worship and to meet with priests. The iris above is open, or at least it's transparent, like glass, and so there's a pool of light that comes in. The place is quiet, and there are priests here who are lighting candles, or praying, or helping others pray at a series of reflecting pools all the way around the outside edge. There's a sort of like a still trough of water that runs on the edge that they can use to commit their rituals. And when you walk in, you are jostled hard by a group of 3 angry-looking men. They are wearing leather armor, and they are equipped with swords and knives. And one of them bangs into you, Malik, as he walks by, and you see him for a second. You can see his face. He has kind of drawn, like, hawkish features, steel gray eyes, and the olive skin of someone from the southern parts of the main continent. He might be Kalashite or Omnian, Tetherian, something like that. And he bangs into you, and he looks at you, and he's like, "Out of my way," and like shoves you out of the way, and the 3 of them walk by. And when so there's this moment where you're like, ugh, and you're like jostled. There's an old man that's like walking in the same direction as them, and he puts his hands out. He's Chilton. He has just dark skin. He's bald. He's wearing long blue robes that you recognize immediately, that mark him as a priest of Severus. And then around his neck, he has a long silver chain with white stones hanging from it that look like eyes. And he walks up. And he
Do you problem?
He puts his hands out, and he says to you, Malik, in common. He says, "I'm sorry. Did those men?" And he like looks past them, like scowling. Did they harm you?
No, it's quite all right. I will tell you a secret, Father. It seems they did not have enough respect. But that is one widely known. I was hoping to speak to one of you. I've recently come here. As you can see, I'm not from around here.
He nods, agreeing.
As one perhaps not as devout, but still a follower of the tenets of Severus, self-professed, though they were not part of my upbringing. I was hoping that during my travels out into the jungles, I might do some work for you or find things for you. Are there things that the temple wishes uncovered, particularly?
He kind of like puts his hand on his chest and he says, I'm having a most surprising day. First, these men demand of me, and then you come to give without asking.
I would like to just point out during this conversation that I have scampered off after.
Yeah, I figured. Okay.
Like as soon as they bumped into Malik, and then Malik was okay with it, I was like,
"I'm out." Scamper.
No. Yeah.
Okay. So he says to you, he says, I am the head priest here at the temple. You may call me Zitembe, though the acolytes call me grandfather. Either is fine. You're going into the jungle, you say?
We are. We've been, I suppose, contracted to find something in particular.
He nods. He says, "Much to find in the jungle."
Indeed,
well,
and perhaps
secrets are well hidden. You'll have a hard time of it. You have a guide, I presume.
We do. Hopefully working on earning her trust. And similarly, I believe this might be the best place to find information on what we're seeking. But first, as is only proper, I would ask if there is something I can offer you. For sometimes I do not know what secrets you seek without knowing that they exist in the first place.
He says, there is nothing that we seek in the jungle that I can imagine off the top of my head, but you seem an inquisitive sort. if you find anything that you find interesting, I do love a good story. Most of the time, and he gestures at you trying to think of a polite way to say this, because adventurers like yourself come to this place demanding magic, blessings, rituals. They want to see the future in case they are to be ambushed on the river or bitten by a poison snake. But you come here asking for nothing, seeking only to help. The gods are strange.
Indeed, I benefit from no small amount of, well, perhaps it is not divine in nature, but I feel Severus looks out for me. I have no small measure of luck, and I simply wish to give back in return. Yes, of course, I will come back with what I find.
Okay. Well, let's cut to Ishi. So,
Introduction.
Ishi, do you wanna try to remain stealthy? You wanna follow after them? I think you're muted, Elf.
Oh yeah, that's
There
the
you go.
plan.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, that's fine. Okay, so make a stealth roll, and we'll see if they notice you following them. Oh boy, yeah. So I don't think it's even like an attempt. I think that you like follow them down the stairs. You come out as they're walking down the stairs, and the one in the back, they're all dressed like similarly. They're not in uniforms, but they're dressed similarly. The one in the back turns. And he's got like a long black braid, and it kind of like flaps on his. He looks at you and gives you this like fuck off, kobold like look. It's like, don't follow us. He knows what you're up to.
Excuse me.
And he stops, and then the woman and the man that were in front of him, they stop, and they turn to look at him, and they give him a look like, what are you doing? And he, several steps up, looks at you, and you have like a briefest moment to like get their attention or whatever before he leaves.
You should apologize to my friend.
And he gives you a look like, what? And he takes a few steps towards you, and he says, I'm sorry, creature. I think I misheard you.
I don't know if you know who I am, but I'm kind of a big deal. You should apologize to Malik.
And he looks around, and he says, I don't know what things are like in this godforsaken armpit of a country, but where I'm from, you're vermin. And he like puts his hand on the hilt of his sword. He's got a short sword.
Well, if I'm vermin, this should be easy.
And he looks at his friends, and his friends are like, come on, we don't have time for this. And and he's like, he's torn. You could probably let him go and not fight you, but if you poke him again, this might get messy. These guys look like dangerous individuals.
Yeah, I don't have my 8 foot tall friend. I don't have my 8 foot tall angry friend. Yeah, and so if he looks like he's gonna turn around and leave, I'll just under my breath in Draconic be like,
Yeah, that's right. Run away.
and like go back up to Malik.
I'm gonna see if he hears you. All right, so you say that as he's turning, and you're like, that's right, run away. And he turns to look at you, and he's like, what did you say? And he takes a couple of steps towards you and like draws his sword. And when he draws his sword, his friends, they don't also draw swords. They're just like, oh, fuck. Like, this is not, we don't have time or whatever for this. They look
I
over.
draw my sword as well then, if it's just gonna be the two of us.
They immediately look around for guards, because they're like, we don't, like, there's something shady about these guys, and they don't want the attention of the guards.
Yeah.
And one of them comes up to this other guy with the sword, and he's like, it isn't worth it, come on. And he's like, did you hear what this little thing said to me? And takes like he does that awful thing that like bros do, where he lunges at you to try to like make you flinch.
Can I be there?
Is she totally
No,
flinches?
you're on the other fucking side of town, friend.
Is she totally flinches, but like tries to recover real
You,
hard?
like,
Like,
fall over a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah, and so you flinch, and he
You
snarls.
should listen to your friend. Your friend's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And you can hear some like maybe the like rattling sound of like guards are coming, and the other guy's like, come on, and he sheaths his sword and he looks at you and he's like, if I ever see you again, and he gives you that like I'll get you. And then the three of them like run off into an alley. A couple of guards come out into the area out front of the temple. But they don't look like city guards. These guys come from one of the manor houses nearby.
Like house guards.
Yeah, and he comes up, and it's a man and a woman, and the woman looks at you. And what are you doing? Like, you're just standing on the stairs.
Yeah, I mean, I put my sword away when they run away, and I'm just standing on the stairs if these people are approaching.
Yeah, the woman walks up to you, and she doesn't have her weapons out, but she has like a shield and a sword at her side, and she walks up to you, and she looks at you, and she's like, Ishi.
What?
What was that about?
They were rude to someone I'm supposed to be protecting.
And they drew first.
And also that.
Little Fox's voice from a great distance. So she looks at you and she's like, so what? You're a bodyguard now, Ishi.
Well, yeah. You heard about von Saberberg, right?
Yes, Ishi, everyone heard. And she rolls her eyes and she says to you, God's help whoever you're protecting. Keep yourself out of trouble, Ishi.
I'm always out of trouble. The only trouble is trouble that comes to find me that I'm not part of, and then it finds me.
She rolls her eyes and turns around, and the other guard is giving her a look, and she's like, "It's just Ishi. Don't worry about it." And like, it's fine. And the two of them walk back to the house.
Cool.
So Malik, is there I guess you're leaving the temple as this is like deaccelerating, right? You walk out as Ishi turns around and sees you.
What was that about?
Just the thugs who ran into you, and then guards, and it's not important. It's really not. Let's find the others.
Yeah, he smiles at you and he just says, it didn't bother me, but I appreciate you protecting my honor, little one. And he says that in Draconic.
So what's the translation there? Like, is it patronizing, or is it like the way you would address like a young dragon to inspire it to grow bigger? Like, how is
he's been doing that. It's like
hatchling.
Yeah, she definitely digs the like draconic compliments.
Nice.
That's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you've got an ideal about proving yourself worthy of
I do, yeah.
So
Worthy of
take inspiration for what could have been a very nasty mistake on your part.
I figure I'm a duelist. I gotta duel something.
It's
maybe.
true, you at least
Just
try.
you wait till we're higher level mysterious strangers.
That's right. We're coming back for you.
Back.
Red side quest. Okay. All right. So the group of you reunite sometime later after spending the day out in the city. And let's say it's maybe just starting to get dark. You've spent the day out looking around, doing your shopping, visiting the temple. And do you meet up at the inn again?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So it's what did I say last time? 5 silver pieces, I think, to
Yeah.
say. Okay. So you can pay your other 5 unless you want to sleep in the street. Is there anything else that you want to do in Port Nyanzaru, or in the morning should we meet with your guide?
Let's do the meet. Let's meet up in jungle.
We leave it
Jungle
dawn.
time.
We leave it dawn.
All right. So
Oh, are we all? We pick a lineup with 4 jungling heroes. So
oh no, you can't all be in the jungle.
Everybody wants to play the jungle.
I go back to Waterdeep. I top lane that shit. Okay, so so you all have one last night, hopefully not your last night in Port Nyanzaru, but one last night in Nyanzaru for now, where another raucous night. There is a musician playing this night who he comes out in a cloak and carrying a case. And with grace, he flourishes aside his cloak, and you can see that he's covered in a thin orange fur with black spots, and he has a feline face and a long tail. And he sits down on the stool, and he produces a stringed instrument and begins to play a song. And the whole tavern is entertained by this tabaxi. Who is playing, and people give him coins.
I love Tabaxi names.
Mm-hmm.
Tabaxi names.
I was about to ask, what's his name?
I don't know. He's yowling though, and it's getting dark outside. And so it's just like another Rockets night, and the songs get louder and more crass as the evening goes on, and everyone starts drinking, and there's merchants and locals and visitors, and it's this place is the Thundering Lizard for a reason. And eventually you find your way to your bed in various states of sobriety to rest the night. Morning comes.
I would like to state also that I don't buy any food during that night because I've got a pocket full of soup from last night.
You realize the food comes with your room and you don't have to buy it, right?
You never know. Never know when you're going to get your next
You
meal.
don't want to spend extra money. You don't have to spend when you got a pocket full of soup. It's fine.
Yo, how are the biscuits here?
I sure.
No, how are the biscuits?
There are no biscuits here.
I sure.
Yo, they don't do biscuits here? Damn.
Why
I
are we
share
right here?
I share my pocket soup with my pet mouse, who is named some form of like the
You want
kobold.
some soup? Sorry, it's not in a bowl.
Yeah, that's
All
right.
right, you Hank Scorpio your soup. Okay. All right. Yeah, the night passes. I don't want to say uneventfully because that's not true, but you don't get woken up by assassins or anything. And the next morning, you prepare yourselves to set out. Now, the plan is to follow the river south to Firefinger. Yeah.
I believe so. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Let me. Who's going to be leading the expedition? Who's the person in charge of making sure you don't get lost?
Our guides.
Or
Our guide plus me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need a character.
Yeah, so it would be me then.
Okay.
Because
Let me
navigation is survival, right?
grab your guide too. She's got a token. Zaka, where are you? There she is.
Am I correct in that assessment?
Yes. Yeah. It'll be survival. Okay. So there's Zaka.
So, what's the question?
I am.
What are the different colors on the map? Do they signify something to you or to us?
If you can see it, it's information for you. But you didn't make this map and you didn't ask, so you don't know. You could maybe ask your guide. But you meet. Let me see. Where would you meet up? You'd meet. You're going south, so you'd meet at the gate. Maybe Mellar's Throat. No, you're going downriver. So you meet on the road leading out of the Tiriki anchorage. So you go west, basically out of town and through that area, which means on your way out, you actually pass by something cool.
Side quest.
So
I love cool stuff.
on your way out of town, you let me pull you all back to the map here so you can see. So you're going this way down this road here. See that? So you follow that way out. And let me take a look at.
Oh fuck! This is where the dinosaurs are. I can see those dinosaur pens. Yes. Yes.
Oh, and notable point here. North is to the right on the map.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes,
Yeah,
we're heading
that's right.
south out of
You're
town.
heading south. Yeah, the map is not the way it normally is. So the Tiriki anchorage, as you leave the gate of the city, right here, you head out through the outskirts. You can hear the ringing of harbor bells to the south. The sound of lapping waves gets louder as you go. But soon, on your right, as you begin to leave the town, you hear the deep, lowing sounds of mighty thunder lizards. There are huge pens, and none of you, I don't think. I mean, Little Fox and Ishii, you've maybe had like an occasional brush with these things, but definitely Arcturus and Mouse, you've never seen one before. To your right, there are these huge pens where predominantly great sort of armadillo-looking creatures. And they're just like gigantic armadillo creatures with huge long tails, with big bulbous bone, bludgeons on the end of them. And then others that are like kind of vaguely like cow-shaped, but with long tails, and a big sweeping fan on the front of their head with 3 sharp horns, 2 coming out of the top and 1 off the end of their nose. And they're being fed as you walk by. We see somebody like getting a bunch of grain and pouring it into their pen, and a bunch of them have all kind of like rushed up to the front and are eating them and kind of butting together and making these
but
deep
they're not
rumbling
dragons
sounds.
though.
No, that's true. They're not dragons.
yeah, I want to go say hi to these cool animals.
Yeah, totally. The herbivores, the ones that are like available and close. Yeah, no problem. You can walk up.
Yeah, so little fox walks up and is like cooing to them and like touches their faces after
Yeah.
asking permission, of course,
Mhm.
and like introduces herself to them and is like very polite because they're very large animals.
Yeah, make a make an animal handling check.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, totally. So
Look.
And they can understand me, but I can't understand them. So like when I talk, they actually understand my words.
So one of the bigger ones, an older Triceratops with her horn broken off, one of her horns broken. She lumbers over to you, while some of the smaller ones, and I mean like smaller, like pups, basically. They're all eating, and she kind of like extricates herself from them and kind of lumbers over to you and like puts her head over the railing of the pen. And one of the handlers looks at you like, "Ugh, back away, like, oh, look out, they're dangerous."
And I like put my forehead to her forehead and like lock eyes, and we have this like moment where we're like sizing each other up. And
Yeah.
I'm like checking her out, being like, "Oh yeah, you're real, like you're a big one, hey," and like
Yeah, and she lows in a deep, long, loud kind of like rumble and kind of like bonks her head against yours.
yeah, and I'm like very complimentary and like, "Oh yes, like very prosperous. Your children are looking good." And,
Yeah,
like,
and like anyone who's nearby watching this, you can see that the Triceratops is absolutely reacting to the things that Little Fox is saying, right? Like when Little Fox looks at the what language are you speaking when you speak to them?
I speak to them in Sylvan,
Okay, so
it's
you
like the fairy language.
yeah, when Little Fox turns and gestures at the little ones, the Triceratops like turns its head and like nods in agreement and kind of like turns back and like grumbles.
And I give a scratch on some spot that it can't scratch. I like get that for it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I have this mental image the whole time of Ishi like pushing on your leg, being like, "Come on, we gotta go, let's go."
And it's just, yeah, like my foot, like just
Yeah.
pushing through.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
come on, get out of
busy.
here. Malik and Arcturus, what are you doing? Because you've never seen things like this before.
Just like wide-eyed and totally just in awe.
Do you pull your glasses off clumsily?
You stand up in the back of the Jeep.
I'm
Get out of the
I'm
Jeep.
sketching in my journal. I'm sketching a picture of this thing real quick with Little Fox bumping heads.
In the background, you see a half-orc woman in high-waisted shorts, and she has her ear against the side of one of them, and there's a big pile of poop nearby.
Yeah, and I like wave to the handlers. And yeah, like I don't. Anytime I'm like interacting with people, I don't talk to them, but I'm always talking to the animals. So yeah,
Yeah.
and I like wave goodbye and like bow.
Okay. There's a loud sound, like a warning noise from a horn, and you turn to the south, and you can see there's a group of armed men and women coming forward, and they're wearing like leather armor, and they have spears. But one of them is holding a long pole with a rope on the end of it, and the rope is attached to a horse-sized bipedal creature. And this creature, it's walking on these kind of bird-like legs, and you see huge hook-like claws attached to its feet. So this long sweeping tail, and from its brow and kind of behind its head and on its elbows and wrists, there are clusters of like long scales. And it's brightly colored and keeps like whipping its head back and forth and hissing. And they're like trying to keep it under control and also keeping people out of the way as they lead it towards a pen. It's got these huge, like brilliant orange eyes as they move forward. And someone comes up to you and it's like, "Please clear the way," and like tries to move you out of the way so they can.
So I guess the quick question:
Mhm.
are D&D dinosaurs not feathered then? The fly-dish ones?
I mean, you're far enough away that you can't really tell. But like, yeah, the scales could be proto feathers, right?
Yeah, because like that's a thing, isn't it?
Mhm.
Recently, we're starting to find out that way more of them had feathers. So I'm not.
I really like the way that a lot of the dinosaurs in the game Ark are portrayed.
Mhm.
Yeah. So they do that thing. So this,
With like the tufts of feathers.
tufts
at
of
certain
feathers.
points.
Yeah, where wings might be
Yeah.
might be going away over time.
Oh, and don't
rolling.
worry, I'm going totem spirit barbarian. I'm gonna take on the aspect all these dinos. I'm gonna get feathers and stuff. It's gonna be fucking sick.
So they're pulling this thing along, and it's like trying to get away.
I don't think you should touch this one. Like, come on.
And yeah, so for this one, it's like two football players or boxers like sizing each other up.
Yeah, totally. As it walks by, we
Just,
see.
like, gathers to her full height and locks like her eyes on the one eye she can see of this thing as it's going by, and it's just like,
Yeah, there's a low, like rasping, sort of like almost like a raven. Like, you know how ravens do that weird clicking thing with their throat?
yeah.
So it does
totally.
that and like looks at you, and its lip curls back from its teeth.
Yeah, and like no flinch at all from Little Fox. She just like deadpans this thing.
Yeah, cool. Okay. So eventually the handlers get it into the pen where they were leading it, and you're free to continue on your way.
Awesome. Yeah, let's carry on. I'm glad we got that.
Dinosaur.
Outside of town.
Okay, great. So you leave Port Nyanzaru and find yourself in Chult.
Oh man, I bet Tinder lives in the peak of flame.
Before you, chances are pretty fucking good. So you meet with your guide at the gate as you arranged, and she travels light. She's got a light pack. She has with her. Let me see. She has with her a scimitar and a longbow, and then some other kind of miscellaneous equipment. And she's wearing no armor. She's just wearing clothes. And I think that when she sees who's the I assume it's your cleric, Arcturus. When she sees you, she says, "You're going to be very warm in that outfit, friend."
You might be surprised the variances of temperature at in my home climes. It can get quite warm. I'll be fine.
Tourist. She's asking you to take your clothes off for her.
Deep purple blush.
It's getting hot in here.
Certainly.
So when you say that, Malik, she looks at you and kind of laughs, and she says, I'm just saying, it's a jungle. It's going to be very hot. Metal armor will protect you if there's a fight. So wise on that front, but it will make for uncomfortable traveling." And she looks at you and sees that no one's carrying a canoe. She says, "So we are traveling on foot into the jungle then, or where are we going?"
Little Fox, you wanna field this one?
And I think she just like indicates the river, like with like a gruff hand gesture, just like, and then starts walking.
I had a question actually.
Mm-hmm.
This map, it has areas marked in different colors. Is this something to do with how dangerous they are?
Yeah, so you want to show that to her?
Mhm.
Yeah, she looks at the map, and she nods, and she says, "Good map." And she looks at it and kind of squints, and like she says, I don't recognize these areas, but I think you might be right. The jungle is plagued by the dead." And she points to this area particularly, and she says, "Many of them in the deep jungle." She shrugs like that could be the case.
We'll avoid that for now. Yeah.
Which side of the river are we on? Do we start on this island or?
Yeah, you're on that side. Yep. Yeah, I'll use her token to track you.
And we'll need to cross the river at some point to get to Firefinger.
Yes.
Yep. And what, since we'll be passing quite nearby it, do you think is signified by this particular skull and crossbones?
She laughs and she says, "I don't know what the symbology of your culture is, but where I'm from, that means bad news."
Oh, well, yes. Knew what it might specifically be referencing. What we should watch out for.
Nothing I know of there.
All right. Well, hopefully we won't be visiting it. We're on a mission for you at the moment, down to Firefinger.
All right.
Yes, we're actually doing what you want done first, so that we can employ your services as time goes on.
She nods and she says, "Help me recover my mask, and I will serve you as best I can."
Fantastic.
Okay. All right. So, so the way this works is because you have a guide, you'll have advantage in your navigation checks. Every day, you need to make a navigation roll, so a wisdom survival check. And I'll make that roll on your behalf because you can't know if you succeed or fail. I will tell you the marker here indicates where you think you are, but there'll be times where you have to kind of like leave because these hexes are 10 miles, right? So you're not going to always be walking along the edge of the river. You might have to leave and go around. There might be obstacles. You want to try to keep the river to your side, but you may lose it and become lost and not be able to find your way back.
Okie doke.
How much, if you'd like to do some estimating, because now is the time before you leave, how many days of food does everybody have?
I have 10 rations. I think
Same.
everyone's got 10 rations.
And rations are a day.
Yeah.
That would be nice and simple. If they did it that way.
Yeah, they are. 8,
We
9.
probably don't have enough to get there and back. With only 10.
Yeah, you have 10 days is enough to get you there if you don't get lost.
Well, we can forage along the way
Yeah.
and steal.
Yeah,
food.
I would have bought 20 then. Sorry.
Malik is like, nope, just gonna bring my own. Okay.
I don't have any money, so I have no choice.
Sure.
Actually, I'll hook you up because I have some gold left, and rations are pretty cheap, I think.
5 silver for a day.
5 silver for a day. Yeah, I can pay for both of us if I go broke, basically.
Great. So we have tons
I'll
of food.
go
I can
fishing.
carry a lot. So,
Yeah, well, I get you to carry all the food, but
Yeah.
because I can't.
Azaka has with her. She doesn't like take it out and show it to you, but she's brought a like a rain catcher for her own water.
I'll go fishing for food.
Wait,
If we stay by the river.
we've got survival as well. So I mean, I think we'll be okay.
All right.
With
My
20
carrying
for each of
capacity
us.
is very large, so yes, I can carry all of your food for you.
Yay!
So you can travel if you're traveling on foot. You can travel one hex a day. Now, if you want to, you can hustle, right? You can move at a fast pace, which means you move an additional hex every day. But there's a chance you'll exhaust yourselves doing so, right? Because it's hot and tough to move quickly through the jungle.
Maybe on the way home when we're running low on supplies. We'll do that.
Yeah.
That's fair. And then if there is a situation in which you might become exhausted, like if you don't stay properly hydrated or whatever, there'll be some stuff for that, and your armor will affect you then. But yes, Arcturus, you've prepared a prayer to call forth the holy fluid of your god?
Do we have 10 gallons of carrying things? Everyone got 2 gallons of stuff? Because then I would make sure we have water before we start off.
Yeah, we all have like a couple skins of water each, right?
Okay.
As part of our.
There you go.
stuff.
So that's how that works. All right, great. Sounds good. All right, so let's set out. What is your what's your survival, your bonus?
It's +5.
Okay. Nice. All right, and let me just check the navigation rules because I haven't done this before. Okay, so you're moving at a standard pace along a coast or lake. All right, cool. So you set out in the morning to head south. So the morning, afternoon. Okay, cool. So the morning and the afternoon go uneventfully. You travel away from Port Nyanzaru, keeping to your left the river, and the river picks up its pace as you start to move away. You're moving kind of upland. You can see on the map there's Nyanzaru is kind of at the bottom of an elevated area, so you're kind of hiking up this hill onto a little flat area. Then you go out into the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't know, like. Give me an idea. Have you, Little Fox, you spent lots of time in the wild. Ishi, have you ever been on a like overland journey like this?
She is definitely more of a, I think, building on that story that I told about being from Baldur's Gate, she's much more of an urban kobold than a
Right.
wilderness kobold.
How many hours pass before Ishi starts to complain about the heat or the long walk?
Ishi is actually not wearing many clothes is the thing. Because it's just like some leather armor, the cloak, and then that's kind of it. There's no like under layers or whatever. She got scales. It's fine. Kobold nudity, not a problem.
Yeah, that's true.
And probably a couple hours, then she starts complaining about, that everybody else is taking 1 step and she's taking 4, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Little fox, we gotta go so far. How much longer till we get there?
And yeah, she like stops and turns, and this is like 3 hours into your whining, and just like waits for you to catch up, and then just points up at the sun, and then gestures to the horizon where it will set, and then turns around and keeps walking. Just like, we walk until it's dark, and then we stop walking, and then in the morning we're gonna walk again, right? Like that's what's up. And yeah, she like doesn't say anything.
Yeah, okay, I guess, but we should probably start thinking about, where we're gonna camp, and did we bring all the supplies, and yeah.
She just keeps talking, like that space. She's not intimidated by your like silent sort of like gesture.
How we interact.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where it is just a comfortable sort of, okay, you're not going to say anything, but I know what you mean, kind of, and then I just continue rambling. So.
Okay.
There's a bit of the adventure where I'm like embarrassed about Malik making mention of Azaka being like, you should take off your clothes, and then like I get over it and I question Azaka probably a lot about who was it in Oralunga, was it that they were saying that we should go to ask about the
there's like an oracle at Oralunga that can perhaps give you answers to your questions. So
Yes,
you want to ask her about that? So we could up you have to hustle because she's ahead. She's the guide, right? So she's leading, like, so what do you look like? Are you a little flustered? Are you trying to keep it together? You're like jogging along in your chainmail?
Yeah, that's the question, because I'm just wondering what kind of in terms of how it affects a person. Like Arcturus is more used to the cold.
Yeah.
And so like it being hot is definitely like, maybe there's a point at which he realizes that he should have taken her advice, but isn't willing to like actually like ask to stop to do that. So he's probably a little, I don't know how you would sweat underwater.
Fish don't sweat, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So he's probably just like looking longingly at the river on the side and being like, maybe I should have had them get a canoe and I could just be swimming right now, and that would be so nice. Like, why do we have to walk all this way? It would be so much faster to just go with the current. But kobolds and all that. Just talking to himself. And yeah, he's probably not enjoying the journey as much as he could have, but
Okay, so
Do any of you need some of this salve while I've got it out? Anybody want some of this? I got insect repellent.
She's like taking a little scoop of it and like putting it on her neck, and the little mouse pet comes out of the pack and she puts like a tiny little dab of it on the mouse's head. Yeah.
So when you continue on your journey until it starts to get dark, and you continue to press on as long as there's light, and just as the sun is sort of fading behind the edge of the horizon, you hear a terrible shrill sound overhead. It's at first one and then a series of these kind of shrieking noises, and Azaka like puts her hand up and gestures for you to like get down, and she like crouches down and takes cover behind some like rocks.
I hide immediately.
Yeah, little fox like pulls out a javelin and is like in the tree line so that she's protected from stuff from above.
Yeah. Do you want stealth roll specifically, or just?
If you're attempting to hide, yes, please.
Yep. I will try and get cover also.
I
Not very good at it. But
will, I will look around and try and go to cover, but I doubt that I'll do a good job of it. Ha
Okay.
ha.
Oh, nobody's
Yeah,
rolling very well.
I go invisible.
Okay.
Like she just is gone.
Okay. So the worst, Arcturus, you're caught out, I guess. Like you turn to look, and a dark shadow falls over you. Now it's not coming directly at you, but this you look up, and there's actually more than one of them. You see 6 enormous. At first, you think maybe they might be birds, but then you realize that they have probably as much in common with lizards as they do with birds. You'll see that?
What?
Nope.
Okay,
No.
well, check and see it. I'll bring it over and show it to you on your map. You see
okay.
6 of these mighty creatures.
Oh no.
And they're circling overhead, kind of screaming to one another in a loud voices. And Arcturus, you look up and you see this one of them pull their wings in and start dip and like come flying down towards you. What do you do? Actually, you know what? Hold on. So we see that. We see the shadow fall over you. You look up. Everybody else scrambles. The thing starts diving towards you, and that's when we cut to break. We fade out to break. The look of your face, like, this thing is hurling
It's like that Saturday morning cartoon. Fade back in on the same action.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll do that X-Men cut. So stick around. We will come back and we'll see whether Arcturus escapes the Pteranodon's clutches when we return. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Lovely.
Welcome back, everybody. Going into the final hour of today's episode of Roll20 Presents Tomb of Annihilation. Let's see if some weird bird dinosaurs are going to annihilate you. What do you do, Arcturus, as the bluish bird dino folds its wings in and dives towards you, crying out?
I freeze for just half a second, and then I shrink and hide behind my shield. So like I'm taking the dodge action.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like saying like, oh, don't hurt. I'm basically
We're not
yelling at them and seeing if they respond.
Okay. Little Fox, Malik, or Ishi, do you do anything as you see this happening?
So I'm completely invisible.
Yes, you are.
Running over to my friend Arcturus. And if this thing like dive bombs him and actually gets within melee range, I'm gonna hit it with my freaking two-handed maul.
What's
Bat it out of the sky while invisible.
What's the skill that makes you like able to go invisible? It's a Furbolg thing, yeah?
Yeah, so I have hidden step. As a bonus action, I can magically turn invisible until the start of my next turn, or until I attack, make a damage roll, or force someone to make a saving throw.
That's so cool.
Once one of them dives, Ishi definitely jumps out of cover as well to like try and come and help. And she's got a crossbow that she's had slung over her back, like aiming at this thing, because trying to stab it with a rapier is probably pretty hard.
Okay, well let's do it. Let's have a fight. Let's fight some
Yeah,
pteranodons. Let's do the thing.
This is probably going to end poorly, but let's
Let
do
me
it.
see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I am set up. Let me pull you over to my random battle map.
Beware the random.
Beware the random battle map. So instead of drawing an ugly map that I have like a parchment square that's a battle map that I can draw on, but instead of my horrible drawings, I'm using the Quick Encounters Jungle 2 tile set. So I just grabbed a quick jungle out of that one. I've used this set so many times for Court of Swords. So there you go. There are 6 of these pteranodons. They are flying around, and before we begin the fight, let me incant the sacred words that begin every combat encounter in Dungeons and Dragons. Roll initiative.
My initiative is 0.
So yeah, click your token, roll initiative. Give me
I
1
forgot
second
to
to
do
roll
that.
initiative for 2 of these things.
Blam.
Why isn't my...
Look
Oh,
at that, Ishi.
there we go.
Go.
Okay.
She-
and then
There, that's I did it. I clicked on my token.
Zaka.
It's the initiative.
All right. So thankfully, the pteranodons are mostly just kind of like faffing around,
Milling about, yeah.
Yeah, they're flying. So yeah, they you can imagine that. I guess let me mark. I'll mark them. They're gonna mostly do flyby attacks is the thing. So I think that right now they're all about 60 feet off the ground, except this one that came in dive bomb style. So Ishi, as all this is happening, you can do something. What would you like to do?
So I have a light crossbow, which I think 60 feet is within my attacking range with a light crossbow.
Okay.
So I'm gonna fire at one that isn't dive bombing. Is my plan here?
Yeah, the range for a crossbow is 80 feet.
Yeah. So I guess the one like back behind me there.
This one up here.
This fella. Yeah. And I'm just gonna peek out of a bush and thunk, shoot a crossbow bolt up into the air.
Okay.
Let me see here. Light crossbow.
Oh yeah, no problem. You totally hit the thing.
Pachow. For 9 damage. Thunk.
All right. So you fire, and and it shrieks in pain. You see the coral fly straight, thunk into its chest. Blood like drips on the ground, and it kind of like falters a little, but stays up in the air.
Cool.
Do you want to move, or are you good?
No, I'm good here. Yeah, I can't hide or anything. I don't have any bonus actions or anything I can do. So
It's been so long since we've
this is like I'm doing the like D&D rules. Yeah, in my brain right now.
You make a ob 6 crossbow test.
Thank you.
Oh God, I'm 6
Translated.
crossbow.
All right, so Azaka, she is going to fire her longbow at the nearest pteranodon, so she does so. There's her shot. It is a miss. And then she fires a second shot.
Oh.
That time, she
Oh,
definitely hits
damn!
the thing. So the first one, I gotta start tracking Azaka's.
Because it's not enough.
I gotta track Azaka's arrows here. She only has 20. So
Waka has 2 attacks.
One, two.
Shit.
Okay, so Azaka, she draws her bow. We see her take the first shot quickly. It's a snapshot. It misses. She closes one eye, retracts, grabs another arrow, fires it, and almost takes the thing out in one shot. Just like hits it soundly, and it spirals down. Looks like it's gonna crash, and then it pulls up at the last minute and pulls away. All right. So that means that Little Fox, you have your opportunity to take a swing at the one closest to you.
Oh.
Arcturus, you hear the like thump, thump, thump of Little Fox running over to where you are. But you can't see her anywhere. And then you hear this like low guttural like scream. And right as the bird thing is about to hit you, she just like appears like mid leap, smashing it with a hammer.
Oh.
Nice.
So I'm going into my barbarian rage and then
So bonus action for rage and then melee attack.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see here with my maul.
Smash this thing.
Like an 18.
Ooh.
Does that hit?
Yes, an 18 is absolutely a hit with your mighty maul.
Maul it.
Nice.
So I deal 9 bludgeoning damage because my rage gives me an extra 2.
Excellent. Okay.
That was a pretty low roll.
Yes.
Honestly.
As far as rolls go, you rolled a
2 and a 1.
2 and a 1. All right. So what does that look like?
Yeah, what's an angry Little Fox?
I think like her so she has like a big like it's like a stone head on this hammer. It's some kind of like extremely dense stone.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a lot of like stuff tied to it. Like little like feather bundles and like leather cord around it. And she's just like this massive like 200 and whatever pound person is like 4 feet in the air, like jumping, smashing this thing. It's like this incredibly
I figure you jumped off this rock, right?
Yeah, just
bam.
And yeah, the thing was like going towards you and just like baseball swing style gets like knocked off track and then she like rolls and tumbles on the ground and like lands like kind of on all fours, still holding her hammer, and then like is like, you know, starting to move again.
Yeah, and so it's doing that thing where it's panicking and flapping its wings really hard and screeching really loud. And it's still in range. So Arcturus, if you want to do something, you're welcome to.
It's within 5 feet of me.
Yeah, it's right next to you. Yeah.
Okay, then I would like to do this. It's one of my things that I can do as a Triton.
Wrath of the Storm. Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, hold on. So you don't actually have to do anything. You use your reaction to do that when it attacks you. So you still get your own turn.
Okay, so it didn't come at me yet, or
it's got its turn. They're all last. You all have.
Okay, that's use your reaction. Okay, I didn't read
Which is
that.
great because they're gonna get to dive bomb you and fly off. So that's a really good thing to have in your pocket.
Okay,
Nail
that's
this one if you
use
can.
a reaction. Anyway, okay, then I'll just poke it with my trident.
Of course, you have a trident.
I won't poke it with my
All right.
trident.
So what does it look like? Does your trident? This is a critical fail. There's no mechanical effect, but your character like looks like a goof or like something really bad happens. What does it look
it was like I was frozen. It was diving at me, and then an invisible furbolg jumped out, and so I have my shield in one hand, and I'm kind of like just like.
There's a lot going on right now.
Yeah, you're trying to fight it, but it's mostly just like batting its face against your shield, and you're like, yeah, okay. Malik?
Yeah. I will try and finish off one of them. I guess the one, is she attacked?
This one here?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so it's 50 feet away. This is like a 10-foot ascent. So it's like 80 feet. Yeah.
Okay.
About 80 feet up from where you are. 75, 80. And then
I got 120.
But you got crazy range, so you're fine.
Yeah, and I will use a firebolt.
Nice. And what does that look like? You're a dragon aspected sorcerer.
I'm so glad you asked. Now that I have this cool funnel, which I linked earlier, I think the spell focus for me is the staff itself, and it's got a little dragon head on it. So what happens is he holds it up, little cloud of sand starts getting like breathed out of its mouth. He takes the other hand, spins it, and like curves it into a ball, and then like fires off. It's like this superheated ball of sand.
Oh, that's really cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
So it's like turning to glass as it hits it. And
Yeah.
Yeah, like molten glass.
Oh,
basically.
like napalm.
Ah,
Like
that's so cool. Just throw the thing up, and yeah, it hits the thing and it burns it. Nice. All right, you want to roll damage for that thing?
Sure do.
Oh yeah. So for folks who are, because this is a lot of rolls all at once, folks who are not familiar with D&D in Roll20, there's an option in the game where you can decide whether to roll 1d20 or always roll 2. I have the always roll 2 set on because it's easier than having to make 2 different rolls. So we always take the leftmost roll unless they have advantage or disadvantage, in which case we take the higher or the lower. So when Dave rolled here, he got 2 awesome rolls. He got 22 and a crit, but the crit is on the die we're not using. So it was a 22, still definitely a hit, and he deals 9 fire damage, but not the additional +6, because that would be if it was the crit. However, 9 damage is absolutely enough to get rid of this particular Pteranodon. Would you like to describe how you defeat this flying lizard?
Yeah, like so as the sand heats up, I think we see like small particles like shining before its eyes, and it gets kind of confused, and the rest of the sand kind of like comes up to meet it, and at first it's like and then I like click my fingers, and all of the sand that's in the air like covering it all over its wings just like ignites.
Awesome.
Just, you know.
Yeah, and it spirals down like a meteor and then crashes into the jungle dirt. Azaka looks over at you and gives you just the briefest like nod, like good work.
By the way, throughout this whole thing, anytime anybody does anything noteworthy, she's shouting out at them like, "Good shot!" You know, like, "Well done!" like, kind of stuff.
And I'd like to move into this brush just so I'm a little bit harder to see from the air.
Okay. So you can't hide, but you could give yourself some cover.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the Pteranodons get to take their turn. So the one that's right here in front of you. This one is going to, since it's not on a flyby, it's going to take the disengage action, and then it's going to move. So it moves frightenedly off in this direction. Let's see. It's going to go. These things are fast. So it flies over there. Actually, it might still get to make an attack on somebody. I might as well, right? Yeah. All right. So it's going to, it'll go this way instead, and it'll do a flyby on Azaka. So she's got a pretty low AC. Comes in with a bite.
Because she's not wearing armor.
She's not wearing any armor. And it hits her. And she shouts in surprise as the thing bites her. And she like grabs her arm. And it flies past. So you just see her like grab where she gets bit, and then she ducks back behind the bushes there again, and then it continues its move up here. The Pteranodon here is going to do a flyby, and then this one also. They're gonna do the X attack like in Chrono Trigger. So Little Fox, one of them is gonna attack you.
Do we get to take attacks of opportunity against these guys?
Normally, yes. However, Pteranodons have an ability called Flyby. The Pteranodon does not provoke an attack of opportunity when it flies out of an enemy's reach.
Cool.
Except for my reaction.
That's not an attack of opportunity, but yes, if it hits you, you can tell me you're going to Wrath of the Storm.
Okay.
So the injured one is going to attack Little Fox. So let me roll that. A bite attack on Little Fox. I get a 16.
Yeah, my AC is only 14. So.
Okay, so it bites you, Little Fox. However, you only take 3, right? Because you're in rage.
Yeah, I resist its damage.
I should add your rage timer because it's 10.
Yeah, so I have 9 rage actions.
I will add it for you.
Yeah, so I take 3 damage.
Okay, so that's that one, and then the second Pteranodon is going to attack the cleric. It's going to attack Arcturus. Here we go, Arcturus. I got an 18.
Which would hit.
Which is a hit. Ooh, that's a big damage for 7. So when a creature within 5 feet of you that you can see hits you, you can use your reaction to make a dexterity saving throw. Do you want to do that?
Yes.
All right.
So it's going to be lightning damage. It's like static. 7 back.
Okay, let me roll the save.
Don't save.
What's your difficulty for this? What's the DC?
The DC is my wait, sorry.
It doesn't matter. He made it.
Well, it's half then.
Okay, so it takes half, and it's thunder damage, not lightning. So what does that look like
No,
when you deal?
it's either.
Oh, okay, yeah. So what is it? And what does it look like?
It's like my my armor has like a static, and when it hits me, it just like, you know. Right.
You have like an aura of lightning, and so it digs its teeth in. It's got all these little like fish grabbing teeth, which is perfectly appropriate actually. And so it gets its claws on you and it snaps down on your shoulder. And while it does like get at your flesh, your fishy flesh, to deal you 7 damage, it shrieks in pain and like leaps off of you as if it had just bit an electrical cable, because it did. And it flies off twitching and kind of like goes a little bit distant. So hopefully you can't hit it. The other 2 Pteranodons, or the other Pteranodon, is this guy. And because you're hiding, Malik, I think it's going to go for Ishi. So same thing, 45 and then 60. It does a flyby on Ishi. And Ishi, you've got a good AC too because you're very nimble. So let's see if it can hit you. No. So what does that look like? It comes flying in. This thing's like, much bigger than you.
I mean, as it comes diving in, I just like drop to the ground, like straight prone, and just hope it misses, and it does.
Yeah, and it swoops by, and you're too low for it to be able to get all the way down, and it pulls up so it doesn't crash into the stone behind you. Cool. Okay, so that's all the Pteranodons. Ishi, it's your turn.
I would like to make another crossbow attack against the one that pinged off of Arcturus,
which is this one.
Yep.
There's the one that you injured is dead, and there's another one Arcturus killed one and you injured one, but it didn't die. So
Arcturus took
one that just hit me. That just ate me.
Arcturus. Yeah, sorry, I was getting Malik and Arcturus mixed up. Yes, this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll make a light crossbow attack. Ciao.
No problem. Yeah, you hit.
And then 10 damage.
Wow. Okay. You kill it. What does it look like?
This is just like Ishi's prone, and she from like lying down, she gets back up, and the crossbow goes off while she's getting up, and it just hits this thing directly in the neck, and it just drops out of the sky. It's completely accidental.
Cool.
Yeah, it like misfires, but it happens to be pointing the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. I imagine Ishi's got like terrible trigger discipline, so she's like getting.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, so Azaka, she's gonna make an attack. She's gonna attack this one up here, and she gets her 2 shots. So here's the first shot. She hits and she kills it.
Yeah, Azaka.
So that
hit on a 12.
Yeah, she hits on 12.
Ooh.
Oh no, you're right. They have a 13 AC. Oh, just barely.
Oh.
Let's take our other shot. Let's see if this one hits it.
Well, that's what I was trying to nail down.
Nope.
Neither. Nice. Okay. Yeah, you're right, Dave. It's her that has 12. So 2 misses. I don't know. Maybe that bite from before. Maybe she's shaken, and she takes 2 shots and misses. So there's 2 of her arrows. Okay. Little fox, you're full of rage. Now they're all flying. They're all above you.
So yeah, she like, is like looking around for one that's like on the ground where she can actually fight it, and she just like does this loud like roar, just like, and then just like pulls out a spear and like throws it like on a rope, like just like a perfectly straight line because she's so strong, just like right at one of these things.
Awesome.
Whichever the nearest one is, I will like move closer.
Yeah, that one's the closest one. All right, so it's like almost like directly above you.
Yeah, how many feet off the ground is it? And it's like as she's running, she like throws this.
Assume they're like 60 feet more or less. They're
okay,
full,
so
they're full movement right above.
I'm not in my optimal range for.
Do you have inspiration?
I do. So I would be at disadvantage at a range over 30.
Yeah.
This is saying the range 30, right? So yeah, I'll spend inspiration just to be a cool badass.
Okay, so it's just a regular roll.
Yeah. And I'll throw my javelin.
Ooh, nope. All right, so you throw it, and it just flies straight up and like disappears into the sun, pretty much. Like it lands somewhere in the jungle, very far away.
It's like a full minute later, just whang, like lands in the
somewhere in the jungle. 2 flaming fist adventurers are walking through the jungle, and one of them just gets hit by a spear and just falls over into the water.
It's one of those like set piece encounters that you stumble on as in Baldur's Gate, you know,
Right.
where like somebody's dead, nobody knows how.
Anybody else who's GMing Tomb of Annihilation, please include in your game a dead flaming fist guard lying on his face with a spear in his back that seems to have come from directly above, and then have his like grieving flaming fist boyfriend send you on a quest to find out what happened. Okay, so you moved, you threw your thing, your rage continues.
And yeah, she just like beats her chest and like screams at these things.
So, Barbarian Rage, if you begin your next turn without getting hurt, your rage will subside. That's good. There's a trend on right there. Arcturus, it is your turn.
So there's like no cover from these people, right?
You could run and like dive into the bushes. It seems to be working for Malik.
Is this a like rock or something of some type?
Yeah,
Would
that's a
that
stone.
be
Yep.
some kind of cover?
I mean, you could hide like here on the other side of it.
Okay. I'm just checking out like range. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. I can.
You can't run straight up that hill.
I'm not gonna
range on it?
run up the
Okay.
hill. It's magic. I'm using magic.
Okay.
You simpleton, I will use magic.
Yeah. What do I look like?
I'm gonna duck behind this rock and
Mhm.
shield of faith on Azaka.
Aww.
Remember that's
Gross.
a bonus action.
Bonus action,
Shield of
sure.
Faith.
So bonus action, shield of faith on Azaka, and then I'm going to toss my trident at the same creature that is it? Wait, it's still above, right? There's a height
Yeah.
Just need 30
aspect.
feet.
But
I can never remember how that math works, but it's like this and this, and you gotta solve for this guy.
yeah,
But you
Throne
don't
is
in
very
D&D.
short
You
range.
need
This is
5
30 and this is 60, and it's not.
Okay,
Don't take me back to grade 9 math here. Let's.
Pythagoras, and then you this.
Can
But no,
you
in D&D
stop?
diagonals don't. You just it's. Yeah.
80 is 80 feet enough to be able to hit this thing in without.
I don't know what weapon are you using.
Light crossbow has an 80-foot range,
Yeah.
but it's like 60 feet up, which would be
It should be fine.
Should be fine.
Yes, my rough estimate of proper mathematics suggests that you were probably within about 60 feet of that thing.
Well, it's
80.
30 squared plus
Don't-
60
Oh,
squared.
And then you do the square root of it.
So it's 900 and Jesus Christ, 360. So 14. What's the square root of 1460?
wait. I can do this.
What the crap are we doing?
1460 square root
Doing
is
the math.
38. It's 38.
It's 38.
Yeah, it's not actually very far.
No.
We're good.
You're fine.
Is that right?
Yeah,
I did it on
you're in
calculator.
range. Go ahead.
Okay. Doesn't
You miss
matter.
anyway.
Totally irrelevant.
Boing. All right. So
We're
after
at-
calculating the math, the thing has like moved out of range, and you can't hit it anyway.
Thanks.
I don't know what it actually is.
So on a completely unrelated note,
Yes.
one of my like grade 11 math teacher, whenever you learn the quadratic formula, she taught it to us as a song just so that we would never forget it. And I still remember that crap
Nice.
as a song. Like it's like the most crappy song and like deliberately intentionally crappy, but it worked. It worked perfectly.
How many injured but not dead have we got?
Just Arcturus and
No,
The-
for them.
Oh,
4. Aren't all 4 injured? One might not be injured.
This one is definitely injured,
Right.
and this one is injured.
warm
Okay.
up.
Has this one not taken damage? The top one? I thought that dove at somebody.
Oh,
but
nope,
he
it's not
they
magic.
couldn't. She couldn't attack him. Okay.
All right. It's time then to finish some things off with some magic missiles.
Pew, pew.
So I have 3 1d4 plus 1 missiles.
The
do you want
actual
me to
actual
have
answer,
to-
I looked it up. It was 67.
Do you want me
I just
to
used the
declare where the
calculator.
missiles are going
Sorry, Dave,
before
what
I
was that?
fire them? If I use magic missiles, can I just do roll this one? Is it dead? Roll
Oh,
this one.
no, they all fly out at once.
Okay. God, I should have looked at which ones are which. I lost track of them.
It's
all.
okay. Injured. Boop. And injured.
Heavily injured or just injured?
I won't. I'm not going to tell you any more than that.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have been hurt before.
1 dot at this one on the right, 2 dots at the left. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
1 on the right first.
This one. Okay.
3 points of damage.
All right.
Is it still alive?
Yes.
Womp, womp. Second one on the left guy takes 5 points of damage.
Okay. Cool. You injure but do not kill either of them.
Ugh.
I've been
Whoops.
playing like 5th level D&D for so long that coming back to 1st level and having creatures last more than like 1 or 2 hits is just like blowing my mind.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what do your magic missiles look like? You unleash 2 of them, they spiral off towards your enemies, but what does everybody see?
I think these are more kind of like more shaped. They're more like arrowheads or scales. They're much more physical than like the clouds of sand that like will heat.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Just
that.
make
I
them
like a
dragons.
less, because normally magic missiles like balls of glowing energy or whatever, but I like a more physical like cluster of spines or whatever you throw at them.
Yeah.
I dig it. Cool. All right. Let's get tyrannical. These 2, I think, are going to X strike Ishi. So this one flies.
Bring it on,
this one
Scrub
flies
Lords.
by here. This one flies by here. Because you're the smallest, right? They think they can just like grab you and eat you to
They
death.
probably could. I weigh like 30 pounds maximum.
You look like the most delicious and crunchy of us.
Okay, so here's the first one. And I get a 16.
My AC is 18. You're gunning for 18.
And then the second one. Uh-oh.
No.
So damage. All right, so the first one, no problem. It comes down and it bites you and kind of like shakes its head around and tries to pick you up or get like, it thinks you're a crustacean or something because you have all this like scaly shell, right? And so it's trying to bite at you, trying to find the soft part, and it can't, and it lets go and flies off, gets frustrated. And then the other one flies in from behind, I think pins you to the ground, and we see that thing where it's got its 2 claws on you and just like snaps you in the back a bunch of times. And then you manage to wave at it with your sword and it flies off. But you still in the process take 12 damage.
It's okay. I've still got 1 HP left. We're good.
That's right. Okay, cool. So
You rolled so well on your stats, Elf.
I know. I've got. Ishi's got 17 con.
so that's 2. The one nearest to our barbarian is going to do a flyby over here. So here comes one for you. There you go, little fox. Terrible miss. I think this one dive bombs in and you just bat it aside with your hammer. And it kind of spirals, falls on the ground, like crawls along on its wings a bit, shakes its head, and then takes off again. And then
Yeah, like it hits me, but I'm just too tough. It's just like
yeah, totally. And then this last one will go. Let's see, Azaka or I'm gonna roll. I can't decide. Azaka or the cleric. Let's see. 1 for Azaka. 2, it'll be okay. All right, it's Azaka. So what does your Shield of Faith do for her?
+2 AC.
Nice. So her AC is 14.
is it like a glimmery water shield?
Yeah, tell us what it looks like. So it works, right? It blocks the hit. But what does the effect look like? So it comes flying in towards her. And she puts her arms up like, shit, it's coming to get me.
It's
And then what
like
happens?
when you know how a pool has that like slightly like weird sun effect where it's just like moving.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that visual effect, but just in the air.
Sweet.
You know, so yeah,
That's awesome.
Dig it.
you can't see it until it works, and then it's just like you're inside of water, but you're not.
Oh yeah, it totally like slows the attack. It thinks it's going in with its claws, but as it meets that barrier, it would slow down like you're underwater for that
Yeah.
last bit.
Yeah. And so it snaps out at her, but they're like ripples in the air, and then it gets frustrated and flies off. Cool. All right. Ishi?
It occurs to me, Adam, and I'm remiss in not mentioning it before because I am bad at keeping track of my own shit, but I have sunlight sensitivity.
Oh, that's right. You do.
Yeah.
You do indeed. And this is
so I should be
no,
taking
you know what? No, you're okay. We this encounter happened in evening,
At
so
dusk,
it's dusk,
yeah.
so you're okay.
Okay.
But
All right, cool.
thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, I totally spaced on it too, and then I was like, oh no.
Everybody in the group, it is now all of our responsibilities to try to remember that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Like a drow, but not as
10?
flirtatious.
10 is not enough to hit.
I
No.
didn't think so, but
You fire. Maybe you get a sun in your eyes.
The thing is, this is where she like aims and shoots and it misses.
Right. It'll be later when you're trying to reload it that it goes off and hits somebody.
Exactly.
Okay. Are you good where you're standing?
Yes, indeed.
Do you want a second wind?
Actually, that's a
over.
good point. Bonus action, second wind. Let's
Okay.
do that.
Sure.
Yep.
I think that gives me a D10 plus
D10
con?
plus your fighter level. Yep.
Oh, plus my fighter level. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Don't die, small one.
4 HP back for me.
Okay. All right. Azaka is going to try to finish off that one that she was shooting at. So her first longbow shot on it is a hit, and that
Nice.
one is definitely enough to kill it. There we go. And then she'll take a shot at the one next to it for her second shot. And that one is also a hit, but not as damaging. Okay, great. Little Fox, it is your turn.
So my rage ends.
No, so I someone in chat helpfully reminded me that it's you just have to attack.
Oh, if I make an attack?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
I
you don't have to have
actually-
you either take damage or make an attack.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, she's still like yelling. I realized the sound I'm imagining, and it's the Muton Berserker from like XCOM. It's like that kind of
Oh yeah,
Like
I
real-
know it well. I know it
real
well.
horrifying, and yeah, it's bad news.
Her mouth open too wide and like
Yeah, and she
spit
has like sharp
horrible, yeah.
like, animal-like teeth and stuff. Yeah. How far up in the air are these guys?
60
And
feet.
How far can I jump? 60 feet?
Imagine that rock is like at its highest, like 10 feet, just to be, I don't know, helpful.
Look, I'm just checking because I have advantage
I
on
feel you.
strength rolls, so I could jump.
Movement, jumping, high jump. You leap into air a number of feet equal to 3 plus your strength modifier. If you move at least 10 feet on foot before the jump.
So I could
So-
jump 21 feet plus the
Your-
10 feet of the
your
rock.
modifier,
your strength
not your
modifier, not your strength.
Oh, okay, never mind.
If it's close, you can make an athletics check to maybe make it.
Okay, well, let's screw that. But I will.
Oh, I can only
scream at
jump
these things.
straight up in the air. What, 7 feet, 6 feet?
Yeah, well, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like,
holy crap.
she's ridiculous.
You're the fucking, you're Air Jordan over here. But no, that Pteranodon is out of your range, I'm afraid.
So I see that Ishii is getting messed up, so I'm gonna run over towards her, to like stand and defend her.
If I fall over, remember I have the potion. It's in the bag with the mouse.
And so they have a rule where they I can't use opportunity attacks against them. But if I were to hold an action,
Yes, you can say when one comes within range, I strike it.
so that's what I want to do then. Yeah, I got
Solid
them all
move.
back out. I'm just waiting for one to come and fuck with my friend, and I'm gonna just smack it out of the air.
Okay. Arcturus, you're doing a great job protecting Azaka. There's a Pteranodon right near you. What do you want to do?
I want to try and do anything impressive at all.
You're like, hey, Azaka, look at me. I can cast a spell.
I'm just stuff. I'm not gonna cast a spell. So we determined that the things, even with that's about 30 feet and 60 feet, and
It's
that's
67
67
feet.
feet, which is within 80-foot range.
65 feet away from you, basically. Yeah.
Math. I'll try and crossbow. Hey,
Yeah, there you go. All right,
for
roll
once
damage.
in my goddamn
Oh my god, you kill it! So impressive. Look at you.
Yeah. I puff up my chest a little bit.
Do you look like a blowfish when you do that, or
Not that much.
you're so proud of yourself you turn into a ball and roll away? I got him. Okay. Do you want to move, or are you good?
I'm good where I am.
All right. Malik.
Sorry for asking again. Any damaged ones?
Yes, this one.
Okay, I'll take the shot.
Okay. Nice. A blast of hot sand. Okay. You strike, sear, and injure it, but do not kill the Pteranodon.
That's fine.
All right. This Pteranodon's pissed at you. It's kind of getting you this time, buddy. So it's gonna go on a little flyby for Malik this time.
Really, bro.
On a bite attack, and he misses. You duck into the bushes, and it snaps up a big mouthful of fern.
You don't have to sound so surprised about it. Look at my AC. It's
I
fine.
mean, your AC's okay. So yeah, snaps up a bunch of fern and flies by. The other Pteranodon is still hungry, so it goes to fly. It's gonna get its attack if it survives, but first, Little Fox gets to take a swing
Let's
at
see
it.
if Little Fox just baseball bats it out of the
he's like
sky.
waiting as it comes down, frothing with anger.
It's like diving, and she like takes a couple steps and jumps at like towards it. Like she doesn't wait for it to get close. This isn't defensive. Yeah, and so
You're
I'll
just
take
using
my-
me as bait more than defending me.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I'll take my swing at it. I got a 13.
Yes.
Nice.
I hit it for 9 + 2, 11 damage.
All right, you almost kill it. It gets its shot on. It gets its shot on Ishi before it flies off.
Damn it.
I've been rolling quite low on all my damage. That was a 2 and a 3.
Yeah. So it takes a bite on Ishi and misses. Can't get through your armor, and then it finishes its move.
I think it's not a matter of armor, it's just a matter of being not there. I think like she doesn't have thick armor. It's more about just avoiding it.
Okay. And I think that's it for the Pteranodons. Ishi, you want to get your revenge?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna there's a shot aimed at that fellow.
Yeah, it just went past you, and you're.
And we'll take a shot. Pachow.
Oh,
No
nope.
no dice.
Boing. Okay. Well, it's flying towards Azaka, so she's got an opportunity to attack. All right, so let's see how that goes. One shot on it, and it's a miss. And the second shot, she's fast, but not that accurate. It's just fires 2 shots, and the thing is flopping and it's not going good. All right. Little Fox.
Okay. I've been like reconsidering how much my character would weigh, because people are commenting that Shaquille O'Neal was a foot shorter and weighed 75 pounds more, and I'm like, okay, yeah, so she's probably like 340 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so none of them I can't jump up and punch any of these guys. So
no, I don't think so.
I'm just gonna keep doing my like hold action thing and roaring and being fucking loud and
Hey,
horrifying.
over here.
Just like animal yelling,
Okay.
roar, scream, and yeah, I'll wait for another one to come.
Malik says, "I'm fine. Stay with Ishi. She's hurt."
So here's a question about held action. So I can only hold the attack. I can't move. I
Correct.
can have a portion of my move, right? Okay, so then I do some running back and forth and end up back here. Yeah.
Okay. Arcturus.
I mean, I'm still hoping
chunk.
to impressively kill Pteranodon or whatever and save Azaka, because it's obviously the most impressive thing one can do. So nope.
Okay.
Just not. Nope.
Boing.
Nope. Don't look at me for that one.
Yeah, she wasn't looking. It's fine. She's focused on her own missing.
Yeah, it's fine. We're
mm.
similarly skilled.
Malik.
Oh, I'm going to spend a luck point.
Okay. Hey, there you go.
So in a different world, I mess up the spell, but it does not happen today. 3.
Okay.
Do I finish him off?
It does not. No, it wounds the Trinodon, but doesn't kill it. Which means it's gonna get one more dive bomb on you.
Bro.
So,
You said you were fine.
so it flies past you, making another attack. Thank you for the sound effects, Elf. And it hits you for 5. Its sharp teeth gets you.
No, I don't want it to. I want to spend another luck point. Roll again, please.
All right. So do I just roll damage again?
No, you just roll to hit again.
The whole hack? Okay.
Mm-hmm. We'll take the damage. Really want.
Okay. And then the last of this Trinodon over here, I think it will go for Ishi. So you'll get your flyby attack. Go ahead.
Destroy this fool.
And anti-air, surface to air hammer.
Yeah.
I
No. So you swing just a little too late, and you crash your hammer into the ground.
I feel like this is
I
a
think-
moment where Ishi's like, ah!
It's like I'm like standing, like Ishi's between my legs, and I've hit the like cliff face behind her, and like taken a huge chunk out of it. It's like this whole mess.
Oh
I
no!
didn't
And when you look over, Ishi's lying face down on the ground, dirt everywhere, bleeding, because Ishi just took 10 damage.
Yeah, because she got
That's
crit.
too
I'm so
critical.
sorry.
God damn.
Ishi.
All right, it's cool.
So
I'm
you're
out.
down, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Arcturus, you see this. Ishi, can you make a death save, please?
Yeah, of course. Just put my HP there, and we'll def save. 2.
Ooh, that's one fail.
Failure.
All right.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah, sorry. This guy ended up his turn over here. Azaka is going to try to put paid to this thing. So 1 shot, and that's it. That'll do it. All right. So Azaka downs the final Pteranodon. With
No, there's still one more.
one last
There's
shot. Oh yeah,
one.
that's right. There's one hiding over there. Let's see if I can get that one too. No, that one is a miss. All right, the fight continues. Little Fox, what are you gonna do?
I'm so angry now. I'm so angry.
Throw a javelin. Do it.
So yeah, she just like runs to get as close as she can to this thing. How tall is this cliff?
It's 10 feet total, but it's not just straight up. Can you make an athletics check? You have advantage on it because you're rated.
I have advantage on it. Yes, I will happily make an
So you just
athletic.
book your way up there.
get
Ooh,
an
okay. You
11.
can't. You stop. Your
11?
movement ends. Oh, you have advantage. Yeah. So you
Yeah.
do get up to the top. You slow.
Okay.
You stumble a little bit, but you're too mad. You're just too mad to stop.
Yeah, it's like she just like puts a hand and like it goes like almost to her wrist into the earth, and she just like vaults up over it. And like
Yeah,
while
totally.
she's still kind of in the air from that, like hurls
Well, and
again.
I think too, for anyone who might be watching, like Malik, maybe you can try to decide later whether you actually saw this or not, but it almost looks like the dirt kind of like helps Little Fox up. Like it heaves up a little bit underneath her and kind of pushes her up to the top.
Because also I can talk to plants the same way.
Yeah. So maybe there's some roots underneath that kind of like shove you.
And so yeah, I just like huck a javelin at this thing. I think I have disadvantage on this, so
Yeah, it's
'cause
60
it's
feet up.
more than 30 feet away.
You
So
do.
doesn't fucking matter. I'm
Yeah,
too
you do
mad.
not need that. Damn.
I hit it for 8 damage.
It explodes. Yeah, no problem. So you just climb up and you use all the momentum to like leap a couple of feet in the air and throw it at the top of your leap, and the spear thunk, goes right through it, spirals and crashes into the underbrush.
And not being super clear on which one this is, I just go over to it and I assume it's the one that killed Ishi, and I just like pummel it until there is nothing left. Like there's just a crater where it was that's just like a horrible mess of gore, and she's like covered in blood and like frothing at the mouth.
Are we out of turn? Well, it's my turn anyway.
not
but
yet.
are we-
Not yet.
Not what death
So
says.
Arcturus, it is your turn. Ishi is lying face down in the mud.
I'm gonna go over there and spare the dying.
Okay.
So
Wait, you let me buy a heat. Whatever. Make me
what
spend
if
my
I'm the
money
one
on
that's
cantrip.
out?
Ugh.
If I'm the
it's
one
break
that's
in case
out
of
and
emergency.
you guys
Yeah, break in
can't,
case
like,
of emergency.
it's important that there be other people that can do this.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does your spare the dying look like? You
So
rush
I
over to
take,
Ishi's side.
I take my my water like flask or whatever and like bite the cork out of it, like pour a single drop on Ishi's forehead and then like put my hand on it, and there's like this kind of weird like glow to it, and then Ishi starts breathing again.
Nice. But is still unconscious.
Is still unconscious.
Cool. Thus ends combat. So the skies are silent and dark once more. Azaka stands as the spell sort of fades away from her. And basically as soon as you look over, as soon as you like look over at her, she's already like bandaging her arm, and pulling it tight, and then like pulls her sleeve down over the wound. And yeah. And now it's quiet. She looks around, and she says, "We should move. There'll be scavengers come looking for the bodies soon. They'll smell blood in the air. We need to get away from these bodies before we make camp."
I like lift up Ishi's like tiny body, and like not the backpack or anything, just her. And I motioned to Little Fox, and I'm like, "Can you get like the rest of this?"
Little Fox emerges from the bushes covered in blood.
Yeah, and like there's like her face is all like covered in spattered blood, but there's those streaks of tears.
There's
Like her body language is all like slumped over, and she's super sad, and she sees you like holding Ishi, and that Ishi's still breathing, and just like runs over and just like pushes on your face and is like pulling Ishi into her arms like a little tiny baby, and like scoops up her bag and just like
There's a concerned
That's so
there's a
close.
concerned mouse poking out from one of the pockets of the bag.
A little squeak.
yeah. And then like in Sylvan, she's just like, "Oh, she's fine, and like too strong to die," and like is like rocking her like a baby and cooing to Ishi.
Oh,
Cute. Awesome.
Okay, well then I'll pick up the backpack. Even though
Oh,
in
no,
actual...
I've grabbed her backpack as well. I just have like all of her shit.
Okay, sure.
Because I'm at like 1/3 of my total carrying capacity or
Yeah,
something. I'm here, so it's fine.
I'm burdened.
Nice. Okay. So I'm just figuring out how much experience that was worth. Okay. So I guess the plan then is to rest for the night.
Yep, once we're away.
Okay.
yeah. Once we get away from the dingers. Oh, I guess I don't have a say. It's up
No.
to you guys.
Okay.
I'm
So
unconscious.
you're carried to safety, and you make camp, and settle in to rest. I'll give out experience because you're taking a long rest. So everybody gets 60 XP.
Woo.
Damn.
We got
How
60
much do we need to level up at level 1 again?
1,000. I don't know. I have every edition of D&D in my head, and they're all different.
I know this is my problem too.
Let's see. I also don't play. I like a GM.
Experience
so it's
points.
300.
It's 300. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, sick.
Thanks,
So
everybody.
that's a fifth of a level. That's actually pretty good.
It's not bad, yeah. Yeah, and so I think that the last thing we see in the episode, what we fade out on, is all of you sitting around your camp, kind of at the edge of the jungle. You can hear the sounds of the river, Tiriki, kind of flowing north into the Bay of Chult, and we fade out. Good job, everybody. Nice work. Cool. So that was our episode today of Roll20 Presents Dungeons and Dragons Tomb of Annihilation. We will be back next week at the same time, back at 2 p.m. Pacific, for another 3 hours of jungle danger. Thanks for coming, everybody. Let's say our goodbyes, and then we'll make our way. So, as is tradition, Ishi Snaggletooth, Distracted Elf, would you like to start?
Yeah, I really like the idea, but just speaking about the game just there, I really like the idea of the like oh, she's injured, and now it's like, oh, be nice, like
Mhm.
rather, yeah, it's great. Okay, so
Hello, everyone. I'm Distracted Elf. You can find me this week and every week over on twitch.tv/DistractedElf or on Twitter @DistractedElf, where I am a renowned and famous duelist and will take all comers, including red side quests from later in the series.
Mr. Red Side Quest.
Red side quest. Awesome. Thanks, Elf. Little Fox, aka Andrew.
So you can find me on Twitter @ComedianCrow or on twitch.tv/actualfactual, where I am designing Girl by Moonlight, a magical girl role-playing game based on Blades in the Dark. And I will be playing Girl by Moonlight with a bunch of folks from Australia on twitch.tv/Acegiak, ACEGIAK, tomorrow night at 5 p.m. So Saturday at 5 p.m. Pacific. We're starting up a new thing.
Excellent. Thank you. Resident spellcaster Malik Al-Gharib, aka my friend Dave.
Yeah. Hello. Thanks everybody for coming and watching again. It's a really good time. I'm glad we're playing D&D again. You can find me on Twitter at Dave_the_human. I did want to do a shout out to the person who did all the lovely fan art. I can't put links in the chat at the moment, but you should check them out and see all 4 of our characters at Buttopian.
yeah,
You really feel good shouting that one out.
Yeah, but Topian.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. It's fan art and like the messages we get and comments that make it all worthwhile and stuff. I mean, I do like these people, but I also like people telling
wow.
the worst, or a vampire apparently. I guess I need more lights in my room, but whatever. Thanks everyone.
Thank you. And last but not least, party romantic, everybody's favorite Brosidon, Arcturus.
Hi, I'm Blue Jay. I'm also blue, like my character. It's what we have in common. None of that romance smutch. That's not me. Definitely not. You can find me at twitch.tv/BlueJay or on Twitter @BlueJay_712. Or on Thursdays playing Burning Wheel with these nerds on twitch.tv/Roll20app.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So thank you for coming, everybody. If you missed any part of the episode, it's going to be available like right now at twitch.tv/D&D on the VODs. Otherwise, it will be available on the Roll20 YouTube channel, MS Roll20. In the interim, you can find me on Twitter @SkinnyGhost or at twitch.tv/AdamCoble. I'm also GMing with these lovely people a game of Burning Wheel, as Blue Jay mentioned, on Thursdays. As well, I'm the GM over at twitch.tv/ItMeJP for roleplay, where we play Dungeons & Dragons and Fate Accelerated. So hopefully, if you have thoughts, feelings about the game, you want to share fan art, please share fan art. You can tweet at any of us. Let us know what you think, and we will see you next week for more. Thanks for coming, everybody. See you next time. Bye.